I'm going with the Vikings. I'm going with the Vikings.
I'm going with the Vikings.
And Frank went with the Vikings as well. All right, Detroit and Chicago. Caliendo likes the Bears. Jimmy?
Yeah, Chicago was embarrassed the last time they played Detroit, 34 points in the fourth quarter. They won't be embarrassed today.
Detroit doesn't travel well.
They don't travel well. I love Chicago at home. Brian Greasy. I'm going with the Bears.
Do we need to waste any time with this? Redskins at the undefeated Patriots. Jimmy?
Oh, New England?
The Pats.
Yeah.
Let's go, man.
Champions last season, a sub-500 team this season, looking for a big win over a traditional rival. The Detroit Lions, who are 4-2 and feel they are a playoff caliber team. We are live at Soldier Field in Chicago for the NFL on Fox, with the Chicago Bears hosting the Detroit Lions. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the NFL on Fox. I'm Sam Rosen along with Tim Ryan. Chicago Bears at 3-4 feel that if they can get a win, go into their bye week, it'll be a whole new season for them.
Well, and I know they feel good about it. And talking to the football team, they feel like they can come out and play well. And I'll tell you why. Brian Greasy at quarterback has made a difference over the last 3 games for this football team. Shook some of the rust off from that first start against Detroit. His numbers have really been prolific, and he's got a lot of weapons to throw to. Defensively, frankly, they just haven't played very good, Sam, across the board when you talk about the defense. Now, last week, collectively, probably played their best game in about a month. They'll hope to build on that performance here today.
Second meeting of the season between these two teams. They met 4 weeks ago, and the Lions, with 34 points in the fourth quarter, beat the Bears 37-27. Stay tuned. We have a special look in at the Giants and Miami Dolphins in London. We'll be right back. To your kickoff. Thank you very much, Tom. Have a good time in London. Hope it's a great game here in Chicago. It is a glorious day for football. It couldn't be better. 51 degrees, sunshine. The Bears will receive the opening kickoff. That's Devin Hester deep. He's returned a kickoff for a touchdown against the Lions, 97 yards, but they're not expecting the Lions to kick to them. Look at the alignment.
I'd be surprised they didn't pooch it up in the air here.
Line drive.
There it is.
Bouncing around. Chased down by Rasheed Davis. He lets Hester take it, and there goes Devin Hester. Looking to get a block. He's shoved back. He's still on his feet. Wow. He is unstoppable. Somehow he wound up with the football and wound up getting it up close to the 40-yard line.
Well,
He's fired to 39.
You try to pooch it out there so that he doesn't get it. Just a real good job by Rasheed Davis. Just say, pick it up, Devin, and roll. He's going to get some good blocks. Look at him here. I mean, he is just so hard to get down. That's one thing about Devin Hester. It's his lower body power and strength that is extremely underestimated. Look at Urlacher. Everybody on their feet every time there's a possible return for Devin Hester.
Urlacher says he's the one guy who jumps off the bench to go to see.
Who isn't on their feet?
The Bears with 2 tight ends, Greg Olsen and Desmond Clark. Throw it on first down. It's dropped by Cedric Benson. Little swing pass. Benson caught a pass out of the backfield during that memorable drive for the winning touchdown last week in Philadelphia, but here drops one.
Well, and if you haven't seen the Bears in the last 3 weeks or so, they are a throwing football team, and they start here by throwing a little pass. And Brian Greasy told us on Friday, he said, look, we got to find out our identity. I said, what? He goes, I don't know. I mean, the tradition is to run the football, but we've had our success through the air.
2 tight ends, 2 wideouts, and Cedric Benson, the running back. Short drop by Greasy, outside Bernard Berrien, out of bounds at the 46-yard line. He picked up 7 on the play. It'll be a 3rd and 3. Fernando Bryant, number 25, covering for the Lions, who have been banged up in the secondary, and they're just trying to hold it together.
The Lions will play a lot of zone defense today. They've had problems in coverage on the back end for sure. There's Greg Olsen there, the first-round pick tight end, who's really started to find his groove in the offense. From the last game a month ago, Greg Olsen and Devin Hester have become big parts, Sam, of this offensive passing attack.
On 3rd down, Adrian Peterson in the backfield. Benson goes to the sideline. Greasy puts it up, and it's incomplete. Through the hands of Desmond Clark, the tight end. And it's 3 and out for the Bears. Punting unit comes in. led by Brad Maynard.
It's one thing about the Bears all year. You talk about a fast start, they have not been able to do it. I mean, I think they've scored offensively a field goal in 7 games this year on their first drive.
Exactly right. And the last time they had an opening drive for a touchdown was the opening day last season. Fair catch called for by Troy Walters. The Lions get the ball, their side of the 10-yard line. And John Kitna, who hasn't been throwing the ball as much the last couple of weeks. Last week they ran the ball. The week before, Washington shut him down.
Well, I think what Washington did was they deployed just a constant diet of zone defense, which is going to make there's only 7 guys in the box, keeping everybody back for coverage. And they didn't run the ball and did not run it effectively against the Redskins. I think they went back, learned their lesson, decided that if teams sit in that cover 2 shell and play a lot of zone, that they're going to be balanced. And you see there, they were very balanced in rushing pass yards against the Bucs.
Well, Kevin Jones ran very well last week, and he is in the backfield with big John Bradley lined up as a fullback. But Kitna puts it up on first down, and he puts it up deep. Way down, and it is incomplete. Tried to get it to big Calvin Johnson, the #1 draft pick, and he was well covered on the play by Charles Tillman.
He's got to warm them triceps up. And he's with him the whole way is Charles Tillman, who didn't play in that first matchup. And this is a matchup that, you know, if you got Calvin Johnson out there with his size, athletic ability, you think he can win, but that's just terrific job by Tillman other than coming up with the interception. Probably should have corralled that one in his hand, but a great job of coverage. He will be a difference maker being on the field today.
3 wide receivers in for the Lions, 5 defensive backs for the Bears. 2nd and 10, swinging out to Kevin Jones. Got a block from the center, Raiola. Picks it up close to the first down line. Close to the 20. Lance Briggs took him down. And we might have a measurement on this, or it might be a little bit short. Inches short, yes. It's 3rd and less than a yard.
Lions are going to try to pound it. I'll tell you, Chicago doesn't have a lot of respect with that defensive line and how they're playing at the point of attack right now.
2 tight ends in. John Bradley, the fullback, leads Kevin Jones. Jones with a nice run, the first down, slips 1 man, and then Anthony Adams takes him down. But a 13-yard pickup on a 3rd and 1 by Kevin Jones. Another man, he did not play for the Lions in the first game against the Bears.
Couple good blocks here. Watch Bradley get the kick-out block, which is going to open the lane there. This offensive line has played much better now over the last week or so. Watch Bradley get on Urlacher. Pow, there's the kick-out, which is going to open the crease right there for Kevin Jones.
On first down, the play fake by Kitna, being rushed, throws for Williams, overthrew, and the ball went through the hands of the safety, Daniel Manning.
You got to make those plays, Sam. I think if you looked at this team last year during the Super Bowl run, it was all the turnovers. Remember all the interceptions, knocking the ball out. We've seen twice here in this first drive, in the first 2 minutes of this game. 2 opportunities to make a play defensively with the ball in their hands, and they can't come up with it. This time, Daniel Manning. Kitna just overthrows his receiver. Manning is right there and lost it and couldn't get it. Those are the kind of plays that this crowd will absolutely feed off if you can make them.
Mike Furry is in as a 3rd wide receiver. Jones carrying, gets tripped up, and a good play by Adam Archuleta, and then Alex Brown wrote him down. Archuleta coming up from his safety position with good penetration. And kind of busted up that play.
It's another guy that didn't play in the last matchup. Archuleta out with a hand injury.
Israel Adonijah comes in for Anthony Adams on the Bears defensive line. 3rd and long, 3rd and 9. Lions bring in 4 wide receivers and go empty backfield. 4-man rush for the Bears. Kitna throws short, well covered by Ricky Manning Jr. He made the hit on Troy Walters short of the first down marker. Let's see where the forward progress.
Yeah, they're going to spot it, I believe. Pete's calling for a measurement. Pete Morelli, I believe, the official.
Pete Morelli, our referee, in his 11th year in the NFL, a high school principal from Stockton, California. Brings the chains in from the sideline. Lovie Smith, the head coach of the Chicago Bears. He knows his team. He feels if his team can get this win and have the bye week next week, they will be getting themselves straight, getting themselves right, and be ready for a big push in the second half. His very close friend is Rod Marinelli. They were former colleagues with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Good job by the Bears defense. Brian Urlacher, you heard Jay Glazer on the pregame show talk about his back problems, but he said he felt better last week and he played better last week. Hester is deep. Will they punt it to him?
See a lot of angle kicking today. I'd be very surprised if Hester is going to have an opportunity to return this one. Even though Detroit covered kicks great last week, and I know the players out there want to cover the kick, but you can't put your team at risk and kick into Hester as electric as he's been.
The Eagles did not punt to him. They kicked it out of bounds. Sacrifice field position. Nick Harris kicks it. A wobbly kick out of bounds around the 30-yard line. Hear the fan reaction. They boo the Lions. It's out of bounds at the 29, but a good job by Harris. That's a well-placed punt. They keep it away from Hester. There's no score. Each team has had the ball once.
Time for the coin toss. Visiting team.
Lions head coach Rod Marinelli says he's got to keep the ball away from Devin Hester. He'd rather punt it into Lake Michigan than punt it to Hester. Now Hester's in as a wide receiver. He caught a big pass during that winning drive in Philadelphia. Cedric Benson carries for a couple of yards. Make it 3 up to the 32. Boy, he is some weapon, maybe the most dangerous player in the NFL when he gets his hands on the ball.
That's right, and I think as Rod Marinelli said, I asked him before, you going to kick to him? He said, no, I would rather kick into Lake Michigan. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Kick into the big Lake Michigan other than give it to Devin Hester. But now you got a problem because he's going to get about 25 plays on offense today.
But Rod said it's supposed to float to the bottom. I don't know how that happens, but he wanted the ball going to the bottom. Benson up to the 35-yard line. Now here's the situation with the Bears. They just haven't been running the ball as well as they had in the past. Benson, the number one guy, the feature back, gets 3 yards at a clip. That's what he's averaging. And you wind up with a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 situation.
Look at the numbers week by week. The running game has just gone south. Now, part of that has been losing football games, but he doesn't even have a run of 20-plus this year. And you got to call it like it is. He just hasn't played well, bottom line.
Shaun Rogers hurt.
That's not good. Detroit has only dressed 7 defensive linemen today.
Flags fly. Corey Redding jumped across the line of scrimmage.
Defense. Encroachment, number 78. 5-yard penalty. Result of the play is a first down.
That hurts the Lions.
Greasy should be really comfortable today. If you think about it, he knows this defense as good as anybody. He was in Tampa Bay when Rod Marinelli and Joe Barry and all those guys were down there. Now he practices against the same defense every day. If they give him a steady diet of zone, Greasy will pick this defense apart, knowing where all the soft spots are.
Devin Hester is in, split out wide to the right. First down, Bears at the 40-yard line. Benson, good hole, good run. Up close to midfield. Give him 9 on the carry. Ernie Sims, the leading tackler for the Lions, took him down. Now that's the kind of run the Bears want.
Well, Cedric Benson breaks a tackle. This guy's going to flash in here. They'll get a kick-out block, and then watch Benson just go straight downhill. See, they get a nice block right there on Boss Bailey. There's the hole. Now, here's what you like. He breaks the tackle of Ernie Sims. And I think if you've watched Benson through the first 7 games, he's gone down relatively easy. That time it was good to see him break a tackle.
It's Benson behind the fullback McKee, and he's got a first down at the Lions 48. Time for our first update for that. Let's go back to the studio to Kurt Benefi.
All right, Sam, the St. Louis Rams got Steven Jackson back for the first time after that groin injury, and he pays dividends on their opening possession against Cleveland, scoring to give them a 7-0 lead. Back to Chicago and Sam and Tim.
Thanks, Kurt. That's the Caliendo upset special as they work on Shaun Rogers' right arm.
And you saw the Bears just run straight downhill with success. Shaun Rogers hasn't been out there.
They fake to Benson. Greasy fires at a beautiful leaping catch. Made down at the 33-yard line by Bernard Berrien. Berrien slow getting up. Pick up a 15 on the play.
And those are the soft spots I'm talking about, and Griese knows it. Middle of the field versus the cover two. Berrien coming from the left split end. He's going to flash right into the middle and then watch him go up and get it. Boss Bailey, the linebacker, never saw it.
Langston Moore is in at defensive tackle, number 79 for the Lions. Mark Bradley replaces Bernard Berrien. The toss, and it's dropped by Benson, and he picks it up. Benson has had trouble with tosses. He prefers the handoff. That toss has given him problems, and he juggled the football. Unfortunately for the Bears, recovered it.
Looked like they had something here, too, in terms of the hole with the big offensive lineman, Kreutz and Garza pulling out to lead the way. He just never put his eyes on the football. He was looking straight ahead when that ball hit him.
Loss of one on the play. Mark Bradley stays in wide receiver for the Bears. Benson goes in motion. Griese on second down, short, and completing to the tight end Greg Olsen down to the 25-yard line. Olsen becoming more and more of an important weapon in this diversified Bears offense.
Very talented first-round draft choice. The NFL Combine went 6'5", ran a 254 pounds, ran a 4.51. He's got great hands. Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator, said he's really starting to feel his way now. Last time against Detroit, 2 catches. Since then, in 3 games, I think he's got 13 balls.
You're right. Adrian Peterson in at running back. Jared DeVries in at defensive end for the Lions. Griese's pass is caught by Muhsin Muhammad, and he's got a first down at the Lions' 18-yard line. Muhsin Muhammad, who caught the touchdown pass with 9 seconds to go in Philadelphia to give the Bears the big come-from-behind win last week.
Oh, he's come up big in a few games this year, and talking to him on Friday, he looked right at me and says, "Dog, we're winning this division at 11-5. It is what it is." Right now on their second drive, they're putting some pretty good stuff together, both running and throwing the football.
Devin Hester out wide to the left. Too tight. The tight end on the left side is Desmond Clark. Benson, not much there, fights his way back to the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. It's been a bit of a changeover from Thomas Jones to Cedric Benson as the lead back. I think Benson has won over the respect of his teammates for his competitiveness, but he hasn't had that big breakout. He had the 100-yard game in week 2, and since then he hasn't run for more than 67 in the game.
I think there's still part of this team that emotionally, believe it or not, have not let Thomas Jones go.
10th play of the drive. Benson shifts into the slot. Hester is wide left. Griese looking, and they've got him. Sean Rogers back in the game with the right arm wrap with the sack on Brian Griese back to the 26-yard line.
Good coverage on the back end, and this is what it's about. You see Hester, a little combination route. You saw the linebacker right there in front of him in the zone. They couldn't get it to him. And then on the other side, Mark Bradley. He looked open to me. Here's the deal. There's the guy that starts it, Jared DeVries.
Bears
on Sean finishes him up.
Have to get to the 8-yard line for a first down. On third down, Griese throws the screen to the tight end Olsen. Got a block from Ruben Brown. Gets taken down at the 21-yard line. And the field goal kicking unit will come out. So a pretty good drive by the Bears, but it stalls. An important sack by Sean Rogers, his second sack of the season. Lions 18th, and Robbie Gould comes on to attempt the field goal, and this will be a 40-yarder. The long snapper is Patrick Manley. The holder is Brad Maynard.
The Lions are known for blocks, so
Sean Rogers, nobody better. Marinelli checks it out. Gould gets it away, but he hooks it wide. It's no good. That makes the Lions head coach happy. His defense held, and Robbie Gould misses from 40. Still no score in the game.
It's worth it.
Sam, in Detroit and their field goal block team, either it gets blocked or the fear of getting it blocked. Opponents have really had struggles of getting that thing through the uprights versus the Lions.
On first down, draw play, Kevin Jones slipped one tackle and picks up a couple of yards up to the 32-yard line. The Lions' second offensive possession. Kevin Jones, who came back from a bad foot injury. They kept him active on the roster from the start of the season. He's worked with the club, and now he's gotten back into top form.
Clearly their best back. And talking to Rod Marinelli, he said, I was getting 8,000 people telling me what to do. He goes, I talked to the kid, I talked to the owner, I talked to his parents, and to not put him on PUP and have him ready for maybe this game was big. Good decision, medical competitive edge.
3 wide receivers in, Kitna pressured, and they've got him. They sacked him 6 times in the last meeting. This is the 29th sack on Jon Kitna this season. Alex Brown gets there.
Watch the bull rush from the right end, Mark Anderson, who had 2 sacks. He's got 4 sacks in the last couple of games. There he is there. He's just going to push right through Jeff Backus. Boom, that's a bull rush. You get right in the center of his pads. Oh, a face mask right there. Morelli didn't see from the backside.
Bears have at least 1 sack in every game this season. Alex Brown and Mark Anderson share that sack. And it sets the Lions back. They've got to get to the 40-yard line for a first down. Kitna rolls, looks deep, and puts it up long for Roy Williams. He's bumped on the play. Flag. Danielle Manning bumped him. And it's pass interference against the Bears, and that is a big penalty. Lions will have the ball at the Bears' 27-yard line.
That's the beauty of the big receivers and the trust Jon Kitna has in him to just put it up, basically. Because Roy Williams was bracketed up pretty good by both safeties on the back end.
Pass interference, number 20 of the defense. Automatic first down.
They called it on Archuleta. I thought it was Manning that hit him here, right here.
Well, there's Daniel Manning. You see Archuleta's coming from over here. It was Archuleta that hit him on the front side. And right there, the side judge called it.
Okay. They spotted at the 28-yard line, so the Lions in scoring position have Jones and Bradley, a 47-yard penalty against the Bears. Draw play, Kevin Jones, and the Bears are there. Wally Agunlia, along with Lance Briggs, making the stop on Kevin Jones. The Lions have to find a way to keep some of that pressure off. The Bears love to apply pressure.
Well, the way they do it is they've got to continue to run the football, and they got to have success. And if they end up getting in the 3rd and 6 pluses, 3rd and 7 and beyond, the Bears in that pass rush off the perimeter will be a problem for the Lions.
4 wide receivers for the Lions. Sean McDonald and Mike Furry join Roy Williams and Calvin Johnson. The play fake, the pass wide open is Furry. Falls down at the 5 and then is hit down by Manning at the 5-yard line. The man who led the NFC in receptions last season, Mike Furry's had a quiet year this year, but that's a big catch, and he was wide open on the play, a pickup of 23.
Archuleta again on the back end of that just slipped as Furry was coming out and really kind of filtered right into Archuleta's zone. Archuleta tried to break up on the ball and slipped and was on the ground. That's why Furry was so wide open.
First and goal, Lions. Sean McHugh and Casey Fitzsimmons, 2 tight ends. Fitzsimmons motions. Jones behind Bradley, and they stopped him for a loss. Good penetration on the play by the Bears. It's a 2-yard loss. Anthony Adams leading the way inside. Adams starting for the injured Darwin Walker, but Walker is suited up today.
And getting Darwin Walker back, I think, is going to be a big plus. Anthony Adams is going to come from this side of your screen. See, there's 95 right there, just tracking down the line of scrimmage. And as soon as Briggs forces it for the running back Kevin Jones to cut back in, Anthony Adams is right there to clean up the garbage.
Tremaine McBride in as a 5th defensive back. Kitna with time, nobody open, and they sack him again. That time, great coverage in the end zone by the Bears secondary, and Wally Agunlia with a sack on Jon Kitna.
Kitna's got nowhere to go. That's a real good job by Tremaine McBride, getting a jam there and then filtering out to Furry. Same thing over here. He wanted Roy Williams. Roy's trying to figure it out, but at about this point where he's got an opening, the pressure was already on Jon Kitna from Adewale Ogunleye. And once Jon hits that back step, and if he can't throw on rhythm, that's when the sacks start to pile up for the opponent's defense.
4 wide receivers for the Lions. 3rd and goal from the 13. Kitna throws short. Sean McDonald is brought down at the 8-yard line. So this time the Bears defense stiffens with the Lions in scoring position. And the Lions will bring out their field goal kicking unit, led by Jason Hanson.
Heck of a job by that Bears defense. You give up 47 yards on that drive on one pass interference call where you really didn't even have to PI, and Archuleta did it, and then be able to stiffen up with their backs against the wall. Nice confidence boost for the Bears on defense.
This will be a 26-yard attempt. Nick Harris will hold. Don Muhlbach is the long snapper. And the quarter has come to an end. He won't get to kick off. There will be no points scored in the first quarter. They'll head for the other side of the field, where the Lions will attempt the field goal. Lions and Bears, an important game in the race in the NFC North. Neither team able to get into the end zone or put the ball through the uprights. Marinelli working on, the head coach of the Lions, hoping his team can take the lead in this game as we start the second quarter. And Hanson's kick is right through. The Lions draw first blood. The drive down to the 5-yard line stalled, but Hanson puts 3 on the board. Lions kickoff coverage unit out on the field. These are some of the leaders. Let's see what their coordinator Stan Kwan has come up with. A fake by Hanson, ran by the ball, then goes the other way, turning it around. Rasheed Davis backtracks to get it and returns it to the 35-yard line. Well, we're seeing all kinds of things. Casey Fitzsimmons made the tackle on Davis. Hanson with a little fake. Well, would you rather kick it into Lake Michigan or kick it to Devin Hester?
That water's cold, Sam.
Box. Starting play today, the Lions at 4-2. The Bears at 3-4 and heading for a bye week. Greasy on first down. Throwing short to Adrian Peterson out of the backfield. Fights his way up to the 40-yard line. Pickup of about 5 on the play. Time for an update, and for that, as always, we go to our studio to Kurt Menefee.
Well, Sam, keeping an eye on the NFC North. Kelly Holcomb now starting for the Vikings. Finds Vicente Shenko for the touchdown, and they lead the Eagles 7-3 in the first quarter. Sam and Tim.
Thank you, Kurt. The Vikings trying to stay in the hunt as well. Big game against the Eagles. Both teams are 2-4. On 2nd and 5, it's Peterson with a good hold. And Peterson for a first down up to the 48-yard line. Kanoy Kennedy making the tackle on Adrian Peterson.
Watch the block by Ruben Brown on Corey Redding. Here's your left guard right there, and watch him take 78 and just wash him this way about 3 yards. He's going to turn. As soon as Corey Redding tries to slip inside, he gets out of his gap. Ruben Brown drives him 3 yards down the line of scrimmage, creates a huge hole for the running back to get up in there.
Toss to Devin Hester, and he's tripped up. Oh, tremendous play by Kanoy Kennedy as he burst into the backfield and tripped up Devin Hester before he could get going.
And this is one of those where they watched a lot of tape during the week and said, listen, if Hester gets back there and they try to do this thing and you see it by formation, Kanoy as the safety, I want you getting up on the line of scrimmage and flying to the perimeter. And that's exactly what he did. He was 3 yards, 4 yards in the backfield and made a tackle for 6 yards for loss.
Oh, great play by Kanoy Kennedy. 2 tight ends for the Bears. Adrian Peterson remains in the backfield. On 2nd and 16, Greasy under pressure, throws too far for the tight end Greg Olsen going down the seam. He was covered by Gerald Alexander, the rookie out of Boise State, who's done a good job at free safety for the Lions. There's Alexander.
Interesting in talking to Brian Greasy on Friday. He said, and he'd been in Denver, Tampa, has been in a few places. There was more of a need for leadership here in Chicago offensively than any place I've ever been. He said, I just kind of felt like I could feel it. And kind of, he also said, I was taking football for granted for a while. He said he's enjoying so much being out there with the fellas, the camaraderie, and going to battle together every Sunday.
3rd and long, flag false start on the Bears.
False start, number 82, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still, third down.
It's on the tight end, Greg Olson. Sets him back another 5 and will bring up a 3rd and 21. They have to get to the Lions' 42-yard line for a first down. For Lovie Smith, he wants to keep running the football, but they haven't been successful at it, and they wind up throwing more than they've been running. Gene Davison is the third wideout. Short to Adrian Peterson. Lions have it covered. Peterson gets to midfield, and he's out of bounds. Short of the first down, and the Bears will be forced to punt.
That's the beauty of the cover 2. Anytime as a defense, you get a team in 3rd and 10 plus, like 3rd and really long, you sit in that cover 2, you give them no options deep, and 9 times out of 10 in offense, in fear of a turnover, they're going to dump it off shallow, and then you rally up and make a tackle.
I know you and I have talked about this, but it's worth saying again, the Lions' attitude and their approach to football this year is better than it's been in a lot of years.
I think Rod's finally got the right kind of guys in the locker room.
Brad Maynard's second punt of the game. Troy Walters is deep. The ball bounces at the 3. The Bears have got it covered. A beautiful punt by Maynard. Good coverage by the Bears downfield. Corey Graham was the man who covered the punt. 49-yard punt. And the Lions are pinned back at the 3-yard line. After this game, Redskins and Patriots. That's a great one. Undefeated Patriots, 4-2 Redskins. Then the OT with BCS standings, and then Game 4 of the World Series. Kevin Jones on first down. Slipped 1 tackle. Nice run. Out of trouble. Up to the 12-yard line. Looks like he's about a yard short of the first down, but a good run by Kevin Jones as he was chased out by Danielle Manning. And Ricky Manning, excuse me, was the man chasing him out. The Bears have brought in Anthony Adams and Antonio Garay at the defensive tackle spots. Jermaine McBride comes in for Ricky Manning. Kevin Jones, 6 carries, 23 yards. On 2nd and 1, it's Jones. No hold. Bears, good job up front. And like he may be a little bit short. Good work up front by the Bears.
It's good work by Anthony Adams, eating up that double team and allowing his linebackers to get up inside. Attempting to hold the running back before he could get that first down.
Adams hasn't had a great year, Tim.
No, he hasn't. He really hasn't played well, frankly. But here he is here, and you see the double team coming down on him right there. See him press into the guard, press into the guard. Then the backers can run downhill and meet Kevin Jones in the hole. If Anthony Adams doesn't press into that guard and he gets washed down, that lineman, that guard can now filter to the backer, and there's no way Briggs or Urlacher could ever get in there.
That's about 3 inches short. Couple of chain links. Pete Morelli brings it to the hash marks. 3rd down. Ricky Manning Jr. back in the game for the Bears. Nathan Vasher worked out a little bit on Friday. We saw him running. He's getting better, but he's inactive.
Sam, they miss Nathan Vasher.
It's his 5th game. He's out.
Yep.
Third and inches for the Bears. John Bradley lined up at fullback. And Tim wanted to put him up, and Briggs sacks him. Oh, wow. The Lions outsmarted themselves. They tried to catch the Bears thinking run, and instead it was Briggs getting to Kitna.
Watch both D linemen go this way. Briggs finds the hole right up the gut. Running back Kevin Jones doesn't even see him. He's the blitz pickup guy. Lance Briggs, like he was shot out of a cannon right there, firing through the hole for the big-time sack.
3rd sack of the game for the Bears.
Wow.
And deep in their own territory, boy. Out of the end zone. Harris kicking toward the sideline. Hester gets over. He's got room to bring it back from the 40. And he's tripped up. That's good coverage. Excellent coverage. That was Lewis on the play. Alex Lewis gets down. 55-yard punt. Just a 5-yard return. Good job by the Bears defense.
And if they get to 4-4, there's a 39% chance of getting into the playoffs. 3-5, virtually impossible there with a 2%. Must win here for the Bears.
Cedric Benson back in the game. Short pickup on the play, maybe a yard on first down. Yeah, you go 3 and 5, your chances of making the playoffs are next to nothing. But if you can get to 4 and 4, as Lovie Smith and Brian Urlacher said to us, it's a new season.
Well, it is a new season, and they've got their bye next week, which would give them a chance to be 4 and 4, 500, right in the middle of the picture, and getting guys healthy. In particular, getting Nathan Vasher back.
2 tight ends in. No empty backfield, everybody out. Quick throw by Greasy is complete to Bernard Berrien, and he's brought down in Lions territory. Here's an update on the Steelers and Bengals. Kurt Menefee.
All right, Sam. Ben Roethlisberger and Hines Ward hooked up for a touchdown in the first quarter. Second quarter, same duo. This time from 6 yards out. And the Bengals are in a hole quickly. 14-0, Pittsburgh on top. Back to Sam and Tim.
Thanks, Kurt. Bengals at 2 and 4. The Steelers at 4 and 2. Devin Hester is in, split out wide from the left side. They hand it off to Benson, and Benson fights his way for a first down, carrying Paris Lennon, the middle linebacker, for a couple of yards to make that first down at the Lions' 44-yard line.
You know, Benson's body language, he's always got his head down, he's always walking around, he's kind of a different guy. And I asked Brian Urlacher about it. I said, well, what is it? He goes, well, he doesn't talk a lot. He's kind of a loner. But he really is a good guy. Once you get to know him, and it was hard in the beginning, he said once you open up to him and you start talking to him first, he's actually a pleasurable guy to get to know.
Hester out to the right side, the play fake. Greasy looking for him, goes short to Benson. Benson is gang tackled at the 39-yard line, trying to fight for extra yardage.
And in talking to Urlacher about Benson, I said, look me in the eye and tell me that you guys have let Thomas Jones go emotionally. And Brian just looked right back at us, Sam, and says, you know what, we miss TJ. He said, I still talk to him all the time, Thomas Jones, but the fact is that we have to let him go. Cedric Benson is our guy. We've got to support him. We will support him. The fact is, they're just hoping if they continue to get his touches, he's going to have a breakout game.
The toss to Benson, cuts it back. Comes up just a little short of the first down line. Fernando Bryant has gone out of the game for the Lions. Apparent hand injury. We'll check on that. Keith Smith has replaced him at left corner. Well, Benson, who had the great collegiate career, the high draft pick of the Bears, the expectations very high on him. There is Bryant on the sideline. And not a hand injury. We're talking a foot injury now. So my apologies on that. Got to stay out of the medical field.
Let's calling Dr. Rosen. Dr. Rosen.
2 tight ends in for the Bears. They bring the chains out to see exactly how much the Bears need for a first down. Lions have done a good job. About a half a yard short.
With those field goal percentages against the Lions and teams barely making them, clearly got to pound this up in there and try to get a first down.
Don't forget World Series Game 4. Rockies trying to stay alive. Red Sox going for the sweep. Rod Marinelli, he's not interested in the World Series. He wants a win right here in Chicago, where the Lions have lost 5 of the last 6 visits. 2 tight ends in. Benson, a couple of blocks. More than enough for the first down. Fights his way to the 30-yard line, where he's wrestled down by Ernie Sims and Kenoy Kennedy.
Everybody doing a good job of blocking down here. Watch John Gilmore right there. He's going to get a good down block on Corey Smith. See there, a nice double team. That's just how you draw it up. Clark getting up in the hole, McKee getting up in the hole, and the beauty of it is Cedric Benson, a defender had hands on him right there, and he was able to run through the tackle of Gerald Alexander.
Benson and McKee in the backfield. There's at the Lions 30. Lions showing blitz. Benson bounces it the other way. And again, comes up with a couple of yards on first down.
What I think they're trying to do with this run game and really feeding it to Cedric Benson on this drive is to, and with a couple of positive runs, is to get Detroit out of that cover 2 shell with 4 defenders deep in coverage. And if you can run the ball, which you should be able to versus that defense, that safety will then have to buzz and lurk up into the box to help stop the run. Then offensively through the air, you'll get the matchups you want.
Mark Bradley in as a 3rd wide receiver. Desmond Clark motions out. Greasy under pressure, throwing short to Cedric Benson out of the backfield down to the 26-yard line. Picked up a couple. Paris Lennon was there to take him down.
Good stuff there by Dwayne White, who's moving over to the right side to play right end today because Kalim Edwards is down with an injury. It's a guy that came up to Detroit from Tampa because of Rod Marinelli in the offseason. Just the comfort level, having, Rod coached him defensive line down in Tampa, coaches teachings, coaches knowledge, and it's really played well for him. 3 sacks against the Bucs last week.
Devin Hester in the game, out to the right side. Adrian Peterson in the backfield. Greasy checking off at the line. This is 3rd and 6 for the Bears. Greasy puts it up deep, going for Bradley, and it's intercepted. Kenoy Kennedy comes over, takes it out of the end zone, and is out of bounds at the 7-yard line. So Greasy, who was picked off 3 times by the Lions in their last meeting, which was his first start as the Bears quarterback, is picked off here by Kenoy Kennedy.
Dentist.
Sam, in the circle right there is the safety Kenoy Kennedy, the one that got the interception there. And what happened was they baited Brian Greasy into this. Here's the defender down there who's just going to run the takeoff route. Kenoy Kennedy was all over it. Before Greasy even got the ball in the shotgun, Kenoy Kennedy was already using range to get over there and get himself that interception.
Lions tied for the league lead in takeaways at 16 coming into the game, get their 17th, 10th interception. On first down, Kevin Jones breaking a tackle. Good run by Jones. Up to the 25-yard line. He picked up 18 on the play. Tremaine McBride, the rookie out of Mississippi, took him down.
Here's the problem I see with the Bears defense on film. Darwin Walker right there. It's first down. He's going to rush the passer. He's going to get caught up here. Makes it easy for Raiola just to push him out, which is going to create the crease right there for Kevin Jones.
Darwin Walker in the game, did not start, seeing his first action. Having knee problems. They gave him 19 yards on the run. Kevin Jones going through the tight end shifts. And Kitna now shifts his fullback. John Bradley calls timeout. Play clock is approaching 0. And the Lions call timeout. That's Rod Marinelli's team has done very well with takeaways and points off takeaways. Let's see what they do here. Tremaine McBride getting playing time. Kitna throws, complete for Calvin Johnson, and he gets up to the 47-yard line. Only the 7th pass thrown by John Kitna here in the first half. Pickup of 21 on the play. Kitna 5 for 7, 66 yards. Calvin Johnson's first catch of the game. Kitna's been sacked 3 times, but the Lions have started on the 7-yard line, now up to the 47. Charles Tillman, left cornerback, covering Calvin Johnson. Swing it out to Jones, juggles and drops it. Took his eyes off the ball. Looked like he wanted to see who was around him. And never got the handle. Charles Tillman looks like he's a little
on that
shaken.
That play, that in route by, you see him shaking his head there by Calvin Johnson. He took a pretty good shot, I think, from his own defender. Call that friendly fire. He was getting Calvin Johnson down, and somebody came over the top trying to get a last lick in, and I think went helmet to helmet with Charles Tillman. They cannot afford another injury at corner. No doubt about that.
Second down and 10. The play fake by Kitna. He's got time. Flag on the play. He finds Calvin Johnson at the Bears 30. He took a hard hit from Adam Archuleta, but Calvin Johnson with each week just is more and more impressive. Let's check out the flag. Johnson establishing himself as A big-time player in the NFL. He was bothered by back problems, which really slowed him down. Now he's getting back to full strength.
Defense, offside number 93, lined up in the neutral zone. The penalty will be declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Pickup of 23, and the Lions are picking up some big chunks
And
here.
they're doing it with that classic, what they call a dig route, 16-yard in route. Calvin Johnson said that's his favorite route in this offense, that he's really starting to get a feel now. Conditioning was a problem early because of the expectations of Mike Martz in this system. You run, keep running. Said that's behind him now, and now it's just about digesting those 200 pass plays. But he really feels like mentally he's starting to play a lot faster, which in turn, Sam, allows him physically to do his thing.
And once again, Kitna's upset. He steps back from the line, didn't like the way everyone had lined up, and Kitna uses another timeout. He's been forced to use a couple here in the first half. Only one remaining now for the Lions. Calvin Johnson last week. How about that end around for a touchdown by Calvin Johnson against Tampa Bay?
Never even got up to full speed on. Watch this touchdown, and you're going to see flashes of the athleticism. Basically, he's about half speed right there. Cato June, very good tackler, drips off of it. Going to run right by Tanar Jackson. Barrett Ruud falls off of him as well. You know, what people don't get is he's every bit of 6'5". He's every bit of 240 pounds. His athletic numbers, you know, the measurement numbers at the NFL Combine, the high jump, the long jump, the 40, he's a 4'3" guy. Maybe athletically the biggest and most physical specimen to ever play wide receiver in pro football, and that's not an understatement.
Are you surprised he didn't go number 1 overall?
You know how the quarterback thing is. That's a whole different animal.
Kitna sends everybody out. Throws and completes to Roy Williams. Charles Tillman takes him down at the 20-yard line. Very close to the first down. Roy says it is a first down, and the officials agree.
John, is, with the exception of the sacks, he is having a terrific season for Mike Martz in this offensive football team.
Darwin Walker back in on the defensive line for the Bears.
Such a great feel. Says every day with Mike Martz, he says he learns a new concept. He's been in the league double-digit years. Every year, Sam, or every day, excuse me, he says he learns something new.
3 wide receivers for the Lions. This drive has consumed 73 yards. McDonald went in motion. Kitna pressure. Gets it to Sean McDonald. Slips one man. He's ridden out of bounds by Ricky Manning at the 15-yard line. Good play calling for the Lions. Mike Martz has done a terrific job in his second year as offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. He has brought Kitna's career back to life.
Well, that's a reoccurring theme. You hear the same thing from Roy Williams. Almost every guy on this offense will tell you Mike Martz has brought their game to a new level. You heard the same things in St. Louis when he was there. You know, the guy is very, very bright, thinks outside of the box, and is ahead of the game offensively.
On 2nd and 6. The play fake end around to Calvin Johnson again. Inside the 10, hauled down at the 4-yard line. It's a first down for the Lions. Charles Tillman finally took down Calvin Johnson. He gets up gingerly, limping on his right leg.
Remember, he had that bruised back from a few weeks ago when he went up high and came down on his low back.
11-yard pickup. The Lions have come from their own 7 to the Bears' 5. Great drive by the Lions. It's 1st and goal at the Bears' 4. McDonald in motion. Kevin Jones straight ahead. And he's in. Touchdown. An 8-play, 93-yard drive by the Detroit Lions. They are best in the league in takeaways and points off of takeaways. The interception and then a great touchdown drive.
Terrific play call. But again, I think the Bears are their own worst enemy on defense. I mean, you're down on the 4-yard line. It's a first down. Are they going to run? They're going to pass? I don't know, but I'm going to play the run first. And if you watch those D tackles, and we'll show you the replay here in a second, once again, pass rushing up the field, easy for the O-lineman to wash him out. Huge lane for Kevin Jones.
Jason Hansen for the extra point. And the Detroit Lions have a 10-0 lead on the Chicago Bears. A very impressive 8-play drive. There's a flag on the play. And it looks like it will be assessed on the kickoff.
Offside. Number 33, defense. Penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Thank you, Pete. Morelli, our referee, but the Lions looking very, very good here. A big drive finished off by Kevin Jones on a 4-yard run straight ahead.
Watch the two blocks by the left tackle and the right tackle. Watch, both D tackles are going to get up here, but then watch the big guys here for Detroit come get on these linebackers. D tackles are going to pass rush. There's the lane, and then there's the two big blocks by the tackles on the linebackers. That's just too easy for Kevin Jones. And it all started, in my opinion, with the defensive tackles pass rushing on what was clearly a rundown.
The kickoff by Hansen toward the sideline. Hester has it bounce, go by him and into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback. So the Lions really mixing it up with their kickoffs to give Hester different looks and try and make it difficult for him to return. That was a great one by Hansen.
And that's what Rod Marinelli said before the game. He said, we're going to show all kinds of different looks. And he said the thing that people don't know is Jason Hansen is so clever with the way that he looks like he's going to kick it, and then he'll put it somewhere else. Lined up on the left side there, looking like he was going to angle it down the middle of the field or to the right, and ended up going to the left.
Great bounce. Bears start from the 20 with all three of their timeouts remaining. Rod Marinelli yelling instructions into his defense. Devin Hester in at wide receiver for the Bears. Adrian Peterson in the backfield. Greasy throwing to his tight end. Desmond Clark, first down at the 31-yard line.
This is where Brian Greasy and the offense have been their best. The no-huddle 2-minute drill. He's calling his own plays, working it down the field.
Greasy with time, swings it out to Peterson, juggles, holds on, goes out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Actually lost a yard on the play.
See, what happens is if they get out of bounds or the clock stops, then Greasy will look to the sideline and he'll get a call in through the audio in his helmet. If they do not stop the clock and they got to keep it going, then Greasy's calling his own plays.
Fernando Bryan, who went out earlier, is back in at left cornerback for the Lions. Greasy with the highest passer rating in the 2-minute offense. It's best since 1994. Some other big names there. Greasy in trouble. Rolling away, being chased, and gets rid of it. Desmond Clark, no catch. Incomplete, it hit the turf.
Desmond Clark wants it reviewed. He's yelling over at the sideline, throw the flag, I caught it.
There's no, that review, if there were one, that would come from upstairs. Here's 3rd and 10 for the Bears. Corey Redding with good pressure on Greasy on the last play.
Good pressure across the board. Corey Redding, Jared DeVries, Dwayne White all got in there.
3 wide receivers, Berrien, Muhammad, and Hester. Greasy gets pressure again, gets away and runs. He's close to the first down, took a hit from Keith Smith, but he comes up short of the first down. He's about a yard short of the first down marker. The Bears have called a timeout. Brian Greasy, who last week engineered one of the best drives that many Bears fans have ever seen. It came late in the game, under 2 minutes remaining, no timeouts, and it started from deep in their own territory and up the field. Went Greasy 7 for 9. He had to spike the ball a couple of times, so actually went 7 for 11. And he hit Devin Hester, and he hit Bernard Berrien, and there's the touchdown, a 15-yarder to Muhsin Muhammad.
The beauty of the whole drive was you saw all the receivers that were involved, the offensive line, and you know, making the blocks. And that's what Brian said. He said, look, I think offensive football is about everybody kind of covering for themselves. If you miss a block, this guy's going to pick it up. If you know they get us on the edge, I'm going to step up in the pocket and try to get away like we just saw there. So offensively, you look at the last 3 games, I think he's only second to Tom Brady in terms of total passing yards.
Don't forget, the Visa Halftime Report is coming up next. We go to the studio with Kurt, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy. They'll check out what's happening in the first NFL game ever played in Europe, regular season game that is, with the Giants and Miami Dolphins in London. And they'll catch you up to date on everything else going on around the NFL.
I just feel so bad for Miami. They've lost their best players.
Boy.
Not only Trent Green and now Zach Thomas on defense, but Ronnie Brown, that running back, big loss for Miami.
Bears came up a yard short, and Brad Maynard will punt for the 4th time in the game. Good high kick. Troy Walters heads toward the sideline, makes the catch at the 16, and is out of bounds across the 20-yard line. There's some time for the Lions. They have 1 timeout remaining. Brian Griese checks out the photographs from upstairs. Fox Friday, the competition is heating up, Tim. Now you might want to get in on this. The all-new Next Great American Band. See which bands rise to the top, which ones go home Friday at 8, 7 Central, only on Fox. That's the guitar I want. You can get that for me for Christmas. I love
What are you
that
going to do
yellow
with it? You
guitar.
going to just set it in the corner? Because I know you won't play it.
I might strum it a little bit.
Sure. Sure you will.
4 wide receivers. Kitna sends everybody out. Hooks up short with Sean McDonald at the 29-yard line. There's a flag on the play at around the 33. And we'll check that out. Lions have played a strong game. Their first road game of the season was the season opener in Oakland. They won that in overtime. That was a big win for them. And then, excuse me, not in overtime. They won 36-21 in that game.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Number 26, defense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Last 2 road games for the Lions have not been good ones at Philadelphia and at Washington.
There's Tremaine McBride. Tough matchup there on Roy Williams. Trying to jam him. Easy call.
Tough guy to defend for the youngster out of Mississippi, a 7th-round draft pick.
And if you talk to the players here, they said, hey, from day 1 in minicamp to being a 7th-round draft choice and only 5'9", he earned his stripes. The veterans right away knew that, and went up and told Jerry Angelo, you stole one in the 7th round. Tremaine McBride, pretty good player.
Kitna on first down. Completes to McDonald, and he steps out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Good work along the sideline by McDonald.
See the timeouts left up there.
One thing that Rod Marinelli talks about is the next snap. The next snap, just playing each snap, and he has drilled it into his players' heads and fighting and battling, and they have shown that competitiveness all season long. Out of the shotgun, everybody out. Kitna, and completes it. Once again to Sean McDonald, up across the 40 at the 42-yard line. He's got enough for the first down. Lions going no huddle. The clock running. Working out of the shotgun. Was hit as he throws, but he finds his man, Roy Williams. Pulled down by Daniel Manning at the Bears' 34-yard line. And now they use their final timeout. 13 seconds remaining. And, you know, one more gain would put him in Hanson's range. Actually, he's probably right about his range right now.
And here's Tremaine McBride, actually in decent coverage. I think Daniel Manning late getting over to help out. As McBride tries to sink back and stay in the throwing lane, Daniel Manning's got to get over there quicker on Roy Williams before the ball gets there.
Jason Hanson's season-long field goal is 49 yards. He was hitting from a little beyond 50 in pregame warmups. Of course, that's with nobody rushing him. Right now, if they attempted a field goal, it would probably be about a 52-yarder. Lions are out of timeout, so if they throw something, they've got to get out of bounds with it in a hurry. There's Jason Hanson waiting. Lions work out of the shotgun with 4 wide receivers in. The blitz coming. Kitna puts it up long and is incomplete. With Tremaine McBride, good coverage along with Daniel Manning on Roy Williams. Williams thought he was pushed, and I thought McBride might have gotten a hand on his back.
Well, I think the thing was incidental contact. They were both looking at the football. McBride was turned around trying to locate the football at the same time as was Roy Williams. So I think more than anything for the back judge, that's just incidental contact. That's a legal play.
You see his numbers, 2 of 11 here at Soldier Field. This is a 52-yard attempt. Once again, the holder is Nick Harris. The long snapper is
the freeze.
Yeah, they call a timeout to the Bears to freeze him. The long snapper is Don Muhlbach as the Lions try to add to their lead here. And Lovie Smith uses a timeout. And Lovie, it's got to be wearing on him right now. Finding himself behind in these big games, giving up the long drives, couple of turnovers.
And the big plays have really hurt their defense. You know, historically, the Bears and Lovie Smith defenses that he has coordinated and or coached is they don't give up a lot of big plays. That's why you run this Tampa 2 scheme that has become so popular in the NFL. But if you look at their numbers, plays of 20+, they've been absolutely decimated on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, Devin Hester on the field just in case if Jason Hanson comes up short. Hester is waiting. He returned one against the Giants in New York at the Meadowlands last season. Here's a 52-yard attempt, and it is off the upright. Oh, he had plenty of distance. It went through. It went through. Off the upright and through for Jason Hanson. 31st career field goal of 50 yards or more. And Stan Kwan has got to be the happiest guy in the stadium, the special teams coordinator of the Lions. His guys are coming up big.
And Hanson gets every bit of this. Year 16, he's still got a lot of power in his leg. Good thing that hit on the inner half of the goalpost and was able to fall down inside just across the upright.
He got plenty of leg and got it up in the air in a hurry.
You can see all the Detroit guys, they're going to cover in case that's short and Hester gets it. They're going down to make sure that they're going to cover that kick.
Hanson got all of it and everything going right for the Lions right now as they lead the Bears 13-0. They've controlled the football well. They have moved it well. Their defense has come up with big plays. And their special teams have performed well.
Hasn't been a good half for the Bears, but I think for the Bears fans, one feather in your cap is that this team this year has really come back in second halves to win a couple of games. Far from out of it.
Hanson lets it go toward the sideline. That's out of bounds, and the Bears get the ball to the 40-yard line. 5 seconds remaining in the half. And the Bears have time for one play.
Look at those numbers. 318 return yards, week 4.
What a game he had against the Lions. So they know every team fears Devin Hester, and now they game plan to keep the ball away from him. This time they gave up field position, but with 5 seconds left, it shouldn't be a factor for the Lions. There's the strategy. Kick it into Lake Michigan. And the fans getting on the Bears, who take a knee and end the half. For the Lions and John Kitna, a solid first half. For Brian Griese and the Bears, they made a big turnover that turned the game around. They were driving in for points. Griese threw to the end zone and was intercepted. Here at Soldier Field at halftime, the Lions lead the Bears 13-0. We'll be right back. We welcome you back to Soldier Field in Chicago. Soldier Field known very much for its football, but its dedication to its heroes. And this was earlier today. Lieutenant General William Caldwell, who is the commander at Fort Leavenworth, penning the Purple Heart for bravery to Major Lavelle Johnson, just back from Iraq. And the fans here at Soldier Field cheering him on, and Sergeant First Class Jesus Kitian being awarded the Purple Heart as well.
Really a neat moment too, as they did that before the game. Like the second one you saw there in the stands with the signs. Thanks to all those guys and our troops for everything they do for us, Sam. And can't say enough about them.
Yeah, and it's very hard to comprehend the bravery involved. And we thank them for what they do for their Bobby Gold to kick off to start the second half. Avion Cason backs into the end zone and is urged to take a knee by Casey Fitzsimmons, which he does. Cason is dressed today because of special teams ability. Tatum Bell, who was the #1 running back, is inactive.
Well, as
for
Kevin
the Lions.
Jones and TJ Duckett have both gotten healthy, you need the special teams play. That's why Tatum is not active. You see here when they started to get it going, that being the Lions early on in the second quarter, as the passing yards started to pick up. The one turnover was key as Chicago was down driving, and it really looked like Detroit set him up for Greasy to try to take a shot deep. Kenoy Kennedy was right there to make an easy interception.
Last two possessions, Lions have scored a touchdown and a field goal. Kevin Jones on first down, a couple of yards, and then he's pulled down by McBride and Lance Briggs. Jermaine McBride, the rookie cornerback, and Lance Briggs taking down Kevin Jones. Lovie Smith.
Do you get the feeling when we were up at the facility on Friday that the Bears have somewhat lost their swagger, that psychological advantage to where they felt like and they did own everybody?
It's different from last year.
You get a different feeling,
Very
right?
different from last year, without a doubt.
I think the second half of that Dallas game, they took one on the chin, and they haven't been able to consistently recover.
Fake draw, Kitna steps up, throws, and a sliding grab made by Sean McDonald at midfield. Great catch by McDonald. We talked about Furry having kind of a quiet year. McDonald's had a step-up year.
They love him. They said Sean McDonald is a special guy, the way that he's got a feel for the details of this offense. Of course, he did a bunch of it with Mike Martz in St. Louis. He's going to find the soft spot in the zone here. You love the concentration as he slides down. It's a low football. Able to still get both hands under it. You can't see it there, but both hands under the football.
Jones, after a 29-yard pickup, he picks up 2 yards. We're going to the sideline to Mike Hall, who's traveling the sidelines for us today. Mike, what's going on?
Sam, I talked with both coaches. As you'd expect, Lovie Smith was short and frustrated, saying the only good news is they're only down 13. Rod Marinelli was very stoic, though, said just the running game was solid. One thing brought a smile to his face when I asked him about how they've been kicking to Devin Hester. He turned, looked at me, smiled, and said, "You don't see any points on the board, do you?"
Thanks, Mike. You're right about that. That's got to please the coach. It's tough to get Rod Marinelli to smile. He just thinks about the next play. Kitna turns, hands off to Kevin Jones for a couple of yards down to the Bears' 44-yard line. After the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, his former team, the Lions doused him with the ice bucket, and he didn't appreciate it.
Watch Archuleta right here get doused by who I just circled, George Foster. Watch this hit.
Oh.
Pow! Oh, Sam.
Foster's picked up his game the last couple of weeks. He was struggling early on.
No question.
There's a big third down play. 3rd and 5. Kitna completes it to Mike Furry. It's a first down at the Bears' 35-yard line. Once again, Kitna coming up with a good play and finding the open man.
I think it's almost as simple as Jon Kitna going to the line of scrimmage and seeing what Chicago is in. And if they're going to show those 2 deep safeties, that means there's 7 guys in the box. I think Jon Kitna is going to turn and hand it off. If he looks out there and he sees that there's only 1 safety in the box, then he's going to throw the football out on the perimeter.
Fitzsimmons lines up at fullback. Off the play fake. Kitna going short to Casey Fitzsimmons. Out of the backfield and down to the 25-yard line. He's got enough for the first down. Jermaine McBride made the tackle. Where's that Bears defense? Once again, the Lions with a good drive.
Yeah, they're on their heels, and Detroit has upped the tempo and upped the rhythm here in the second half. But how much faster they're getting to the line of scrimmage to get the plays off.
They've marched 55 yards already. Starting from their own 20.
You know, with all the weapons, that if Jon Kitna gets protection, and they'll keep the running backs in to help chip on the ends, he's going to make some completions to his high-octane receivers.
Jones started to go one way. Now he lines up outside. Kitna calls a timeout. Once again, some confusion as to the formation. Lions call timeout, but they are driving, and they have the lead.
on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. With Southwest Airlines' convenient nonstop flights, it's like having your own company plane. By Bud Light, refreshingly smooth Bud Light, always worth it. By Nike, do you love basketball or do you love famous? And by Jeep, with 7 Jeep vehicles, there's one for you.
First down, Lions at the Bears' 25-yard line. And a little shovel pass to Jones, but Antonio Garay right there to take him down, give him a yard on the pickup. Nice play by Garay.
You know, that last play, we saw Jon Kitna come to the line of scrimmage. Didn't like what he saw, so he called a timeout. That's the third time we've seen him do that today, and I think why he's doing it, Mike Martz, the offensive coordinator, doesn't believe in a lot of audibles. As a matter of fact, he hasn't called one in like 7 years in terms of his offense. And I think when Kitna gets up there, he's got the play called, and to me, I think Chicago's in the absolute perfect defense to defend it without an audible. Jon Kitna's got to call a timeout.
Here's 2nd and 9. Kitna under pressure. And that pass was wide of Roy Williams. Only the 5th incompletion thrown by Jon Kitna in the game today. Roy Williams coming back to the huddle. Boy, Jon Kitna has been the perfect leader for the Lions. He's hung in there. He's taken hits. He was sacked 3 times in the first half, but he's withstood the pressure and come up with big plays.
And relishes this offensive system from Mike Martz. He said there is no doubt. Said he wouldn't have been good early as a young player, but now, long in the tooth, double-digit years in pro football, he said it is a dream to play for Mike Martz.
McHugh, the tight end, went in motion. Kitna gets time, and he completes it to Sean McHugh for a first down. Kitna 4 for 4 on 3rd down passing. And he hooks up with another receiver. That's the 8th different receiver that he's connected with in the game.
And this is classic Mike Martz stuff. They'll run Furry out, which is just going to clear it out for Sean McHugh. See, Furry just gets the corner to step inside a little bit. He's going to carry this guy deep. This guy has to settle just enough so that McHugh can find a little soft spot. Kitna throws the ball before he even makes his turn or break.
Wide receivers, Kitna pointing out where the defensive backs are to Sean McDonald. He hands to Jones. Little cut inside. Jones gets down to the 11-yard line. Drive that started at the Lions' 20-yard line to start the half has gone nearly 5.5 minutes. Their ball control has been excellent. Their 3rd down conversions have been outstanding. Lions playing a terrific game.
And the beauty of what they're doing is it's balanced. The Lions are, last year under Martz, they're a throwing football team. That's their MO. 13 rushes already for Kevin Jones.
3 wide receivers again. McHugh, the tight end, motions. Kitna rolls, fakes, and just threw that one. Almost a snap throw. McHugh and Sean McDonald were downfield, and it's incomplete.
Now watch both linebackers. They sniff it out when you look at Briggs and Urlacher right there. They want a little shovel pass here to Kevin Jones. Both of these guys are playing it, and Kitna can't go to it. See, John wanted to go there. Briggs and Urlacher had it, so he had to go to the contingency plan to his number 2 read. Did not make a good throw.
So here is 3rd and 8. They have to get to the 4-yard line for a first down. 3 wide receivers. Kitna gets time, throwing to the end zone. A leaping catch, but out of bounds. What an effort by Calvin Johnson. Did he ever lay out for that? He went flying out of bounds.
I don't know if there's another guy in the league that could lay out and make this catch. He's just going to come out here and get to the sideline. See, he's already out of bounds there. He's still laying out. Love that effort.
Oh, wow. Jason Hanson with his 3rd field goal try of the game. He's 2 for 2 from 26 and 52. Nick Harris, the holder. This one is 29. And it's off the upright and out. This time, he hit the wrong side of the upright. So Jason Hanson, who has had trouble kicking in Soldier Field, it didn't show up in the first half, but here, this was a chip shot, and it cost the Lions 3 points.
Just that one, he pushed out to the right. That one almost had that slice look on it where it hit, and it went straight right. He had too much spin on that, too much spin rate,
turn this into a momentum swing in their favor. As the Lions had the ball for 6 minutes and came up empty. Cedric Benson, good run on first down. The ball popped loose, but it's ruled down. The official said he was down. And the official emphatically pointing to the ground. Lions after the ball. Benson picking up 8 yards on first down.
Look how far the ball is out and away from his body. Now he's going to tuck it in right there. Right knee is, looks like the right knee is clearly down when that ball comes out. If it wasn't the right knee, the right shin was certainly on the turf.
There's 2nd and 2. Off the play fake. Greasy throwing short, broken up. McKee, the fullback, hit hard on the play by Boss Bailey. Let's go to Kurt Menefee for an update.
Well, guys, the Carolina Panthers came out and scored first against Indy. Since then, it's been all Colts. Joseph Adaya with a touchdown catch and run, his second of the day, and they lead it 17-7 early in the third. Sam and Tim.
Thank you, Kurt. Indy trying to go 7-0.
Got Devin Hester out there, split out to the right side. Sam right here for Chicago.
3 wide receivers. Muhammad, Mark Berrien, Devin Hester. Greasy looking, throws behind Berrien. Some confusion on that call because Greasy was looking for Berrien to make the move.
And I'll tell you what hurts. Yeah, they were miscommunication for sure. Berrien was running a go route, and Greasy was throwing the comeback. But the defense just got off the field after a 6-minute drive. They held the Lions to nothing. They got off the field to miss field goal. Now it's 3 and out, and they're right back out there again.
Troy Walters back deep. Receive Brad Maynard's punt.
And when you're an undersized defense, it starts to take its toll.
Walkman takes a Bears roll and comes to a stop at around the 17-yard line. That's a good punt for Brad Maynard. 54-yarder. The Bears need
Verizon Wireless.
Tommy Harris on the sideline. He has to be hurting. He has not played a whole lot in this game. Bears start from the 17. Kitna throws quickly to Roy Williams, and he's up to the 20-yard line, and that's all. Pickup of 3 on the play.
And there's got to be something wrong with Tommy Harris because they've got their nickel out there right now, and Tommy Harris is their best inside pass rusher. As a matter of fact, he's at a career-high 6 sacks, and he's been beat up and injured all year. He's been up and down, inconsistent. Said he came back for that Minnesota game a couple of weeks ago, Sam, was the worst game that he played. But the thing that stuck out to me, he said, I tried to give the guys a morale boost. And I looked around the huddle, he goes, guys' eyes were different. It's not the same with the way they're playing defense this year.
Kitna trying to set up the screen, flushed out, he rolls, he looks, and he throws it away. And there's a late flag, just came in from the judge down about 20 yards downfield. So let's see.
And I think that's part of that swagger, that Tommy Harris, you know, the no fear mentality that this Bears defense has had, certainly through that Super Bowl run last year.
Let's get Pete Morelli's call here as he talks things over with Brian Urlacher. It's against the Lions.
It's like OPI, offensive pass interference.
66. Pass interference, offense, number 66, blocking downfield. The penalty will be declined. 3rd down.
66 is the offensive guard, Stephen Peterman.
He was already engaging in a block down the field while the ball was in the air. But Tommy Harris had his game face on Friday. And look, he goes, we have to win this game.
Right.
We have to. I said, Tommy, what's going on? He goes, I know you. I know what you're all about. He goes, I'm not going to lie to you. Frankly, we're not playing good on defense. I believe in the system. Guys have got to get it figured out.
And Tommy Harris on the field here on a 3rd and long. Lions have to get to the 29 for a first down. Kitna pressured, throws. It's incomplete. Good pressure that time. Adam Archuleta was blitzing. Lance Briggs coming hard. And good pressure on John Kitna to get rid of it. And the Lions are 3 and out.
And I think defensively, because John Kitna has such a good feel for what Chicago wants to do with the zone stuff, is you've got to turn up some blitzes on him. You've got to show some man coverage. You've got to get guys in John Kitna's face like we saw right there with Archuleta.
Devin Hester trying to figure out which way Nick Harris will go with the punt. He lets it fly, and Hester's got a chance to bring it back from the 35. Here he goes. Hester still going and brought down at the Lions 25. That time, they needed to kick it into Lake Michigan.
Well, you pick your poison. You give him great field position, or you kick it to Devin Hester. I would kick it out of bounds every time. Hester's ability to explode. Now watch when he catches it. A lot of guys would start bending this across the grain. Watch him split the two defenders right there and go 0 to 60 in about 2 steps. Wow.
45-yard punt, 40-yard return. Shaking his head about giving Devin Hester the chance. He didn't want to. Bears from the Lions 26. Cedric Benson, flag on the play. Benson with a strong run down to the 15-yard line, but we'll check out the flag.
They're going to get Ruben Brown. He was pulling around and just put his arm right around the defender's face mask, and I think got him up top, held him around the neck.
Number 74 offense, 10-yard penalty still, first down.
That's the guy, negates a good first down run and sets the Bears back.
And he definitely got his hand up around the neck area of the defender, the linebacker who was trying to run the alley. And really, Ruben Brown didn't even need to do it. He already had him out leveraged.
There's Ruben Brown. It's a first down for the Bears, 1st and 20 at the Lions' 36-yard line. Great chance for the Bears to get on the board. They have failed to put any points on. One time Robbie Gould missed a 40-yard field goal attempt in the first half, and then Brian Griese threw an interception. This is Devin Hester taking the quick pass, and it's played well by Keith Smith. He's done a good job in a nickel situation.
Really good job.
Defensive back.
Really good job by Keith Smith, because they're doing anything, Chicago, to try to find ways to get the ball into Devin Hester's hands. And that time, just the missile screen or the little smoke screen, and Keith Smith was all over it.
2nd and 20 for the Bears. Adrian Peterson has come into the backfield.
They got to get the wild card involved. The old wily vet, Muhsin Muhammad. He's got to start becoming a part of this offense here in the second half.
2 tight ends in for Chicago. Everybody out. Griese throws outside. Complete to Muhsin Muhammad. And he fights his way down the 20-yard line. And the Moose calls go up. 2nd catch of the game for Muhsin Muhammad. That gain was 16, and Travis Fisher is writhing in pain on the grass. We'll step out for a moment. What did you say earlier about friendly fire?
Well, you'll see a good example of it, an illustration of it right here is Travis Fisher is holding up Muhsin Muhammad. And there's Fisher trying to get up. And you'll see what happened here is he's got Muhsin wrapped up right here. Boss Bailey's coming out of nowhere, and this is just a hazard of the game, and he hits his own guy right there, the helmet of Boss Bailey on the low back of Fisher, and that's just a hazard of the game.
And then Muhsin Muhammad limped to the sideline for the Bears. Here's the 3rd and 4. Devin Hester is in for Chicago. Lines up in the slot to the right side. Adrian Peterson in the backfield. Everybody out. Griese throws. Greg Olsen, touchdown! He beat the safety Kenoy Kennedy on the play. And the Bears, after the great punt return by Devin Hester, turn it into a touchdown that they needed badly. 2nd touchdown of the season for Muhsin Muhammad. And for Brian Griese, the 9th touchdown pass he's thrown since taking over as the starter. This is his 5th game. The extra point by Robbie Gould is good. And the Bears with a big score.
Great execution by Greg Olsen. They talked about him being a great route runner. He runs the corner route. He's going to come from over here, but he runs just to the corner. He gets behind Fernando Bryant and in front of the safety. That's a lot of pressure when Devin Hester's part of that little bunch. And you see Hester 23. Watch Bryant just take a step towards him. Sam, that's what opens up that little window behind him in front of the safety for Greg Olsen on the touchdown. And beautiful throw by Greasy.
Tim, a little credit to the old line because everybody was out on that play, and they did a good job of giving Greasy time to find Olsen.
Absolutely. If you give Bryant time, he's going to find his guys. But again, I don't think you can stress enough what Devin Hester does to defenses. Even though he's not out there a lot and he's just starting to find his way in the offense, he's a big play waiting to happen. Bryant took one too many steps his way, opened the window for Olsen on the touchdown.
If the Bears come back and win this game, that punt return by Devin Hester may have turned the entire game around. And really
a big mistake by Harris and the Detroit Lions to kick to him. Bottom line, Rod Marinelli said they were not going to do it. They've done it more than once today. They're flirting with fire.
So now it's a 13-7 Detroit lead. Robbie Gould gets ready to kick it off. Avion Quezon deep for the Lions. Quezon comes up, takes it at the 12. Looking for the wedge. And a nice return by Quezon across the 30 to the 31-yard line. 19-yard return. It had been a quiet afternoon for Devin Hester by virtue of some excellent special teams work by the Lions up until that return.
And there's Rod Marinelli talking to his special teams coach, Stan Kwan. And I'm sure Kwan's going, hey, coach, I told him to kick it out of bounds.
That's right.
I told him to kick it in the lake.
The lake, Stan. Alex Brown in at defensive end for the Bears. Lions start from the 31. Kevin Jones finds the hole. Oh, great run by Jones, breaking tackles, and finally he's brought down. Missed tackles have been a huge problem for the Bears all season long. They missed about 3 on that run.
Well, and conversely, on the other side of the ball, when you watch Benson run, he doesn't break tackles. Cedric Benson, and now Kevin Jones. Watch all the tackles that he's going to break here. He's just going to get right up here in this crease. Little lag draw. Bradley with a good block there, but now watch the missed tackles. Okay, there's a shot there by Archuleta. Then Tillman falls off of him. Now there's Danielle Manning. Hunter Hillenmeyer trying to punch it out. Kevin Jones downhill, breaking tackles. Good stuff for the Lions.
On first down, it's T.J. Duckett, his first carry of the game. It's about a yard on the play. Kevin Jones has now carried 14 times for 89 yards in the game.
And has not had a lot of success historically here at Soldier Field. If you look at Kevin Jones' numbers since he's been a Lion and playing here, he hasn't had a lot of success. This is clearly his best day on this field.
Jones picked up 34 on that last run. He's back in now for T.J. Duckett. The ball at the Bears, 34.
The more he runs, the more he has success, the more brilliant Marinelli and his staff look for not putting him on the PUP, physically unable to perform.
4 wide receivers for the Lions. Kitna throws and completes it to Sean McDonald. Spinning, gets to the sideline, gets a first down, out of bounds at the Bears' 23-yard line. Lance Briggs missed the tackle. And on it goes. And we talked to Brian Urlacher about it. He said sometimes it's lack of concentration. They said they practice it, they work on the drills, but they miss tackles, and it's been a problem all season.
I'm telling you, psychologically, this team has had a hangover since the second half of that Dallas game. They haven't been the same defense, Sam, emotionally, and then it shows up physically.
Quick pass, batted away. That's a good play by Hunter Hillenmeyer, who was lined up outside. He went up in a hurry. Week 4 in Detroit, they went into the 4th quarter with the Lions fans sleeping. It was 13-3 Bears, but then the Lions got it going. The offense worked, the defense worked. Keith Smith with a return for a touchdown, another touchdown pass, a touchdown run, a return of an onside kick, and an NFL record 34 points in the 4th quarter. And the Lions beat the Bears 37-27. Right here, 2nd and 10. Furry in motion. Kitna with time. Goes short to Furry. And he's down the 11-yard line. Kitna. A lot of of patience, a lot of poise, and found his man for 12 yards. Third catch by Mike Furry.
Well, you heard me talking about the Dallas game. The Detroit game was the week after. And I think what happened in that fourth quarter was that the Lions just reopened that wound from the second half of the Dallas game, and you saw the swagger go south for this football team. Came back out the next week, did not play good against Green Bay in the first half in the Minnesota game. I mean, this defense is in disarray emotionally.
There's Jones inside the 10, and he's wrestled back as he crossed the 10-yard line. Bears now have Tommy Harris and Darwin Walker in at the defensive tackle positions. So the Lions with a good answer after the Bears scored. Bears defense. You know what's interesting is the Bears lead the league in 3 and outs. The defense does. And at times they'll play well, and other times they
just hit or miss. They also lead the league, or second to last in the league, in allowing big plays.
Kitna, everybody out. He has time. And the ball is caught by Roy Williams. McBride takes him down at the 3-yard line. Good catch. Roy Williams juggled. Boy, they have two superb outside men, and Roy Williams and Calvin Johnson.
And John Kitna knows how to get it to him. That's the beauty of it all. Kitna can get to his third read. As long as that offensive line is giving him the protection that he needs, and that's been the problem, Kitna knows exactly where he's going to go with the football.
And then when you worry about them, McDonald and Furry catch the passes. 2 tight ends in for the Lions. 3rd and a yard at the 3. Kevin Jones busting down the 1-yard line. And it looks like he's right at the first down line. It's spotted at the 2, and Pete Morelli wants to change.
Oh, tell me that action's not hot in there. Urlacher, helmet to helmet there on Kevin Jones. And Urlacher, you know, all the stuff that you heard Glazer on the pregame show talking about Urlacher's back and the possibilities of that. Brian has worked tirelessly with Rusty Jones, Clyde Emmerich, and his rehab, and said, they're short there, as you see, Sam, it's 4th down. Said structurally, there's nothing wrong with his back. He doesn't need surgery on it at this point. It's just about rehab and staying strong. But no doubt the pain tolerance, his ability to deal with it has affected him.
Rod Marinelli leaves his offense out there. On 4th and inches, they will go for it. 2 tight ends on the field for the Lions. The ball just inside the 2-yard line. Lions are 1 for 3 on 4th down conversions this season.
Remember the last short yardage, John Kitna went back to pass it and was sacked by Lance Briggs in the first half.
They just need a couple of inches. Jones and big John Bradley in the backfield. Fitzsimmons motions. Across the line comes Tommy Harris. Who moved?
That's on Chicago. That's an automatic first down for the Lions.
The head linesman says it's on the Bears. The Bears are clapping and saying it's on the Lions.
Number 91 defense half the distance to the goal. The result of the penalty is a first down.
There it tells you all you need to know.
Looks like Kitna was getting up here. Tommy Harris was thinking a quick count was coming. That's just a bad job. You can't do that on 4th and inches, automatic first down inside your 1-yard line.
4th, and now it's 1st and goal for the Lions inside the 1. Fitzsimmons motions. Kevin Jones. Stop. That's a great job inside by the interior on the Bears defense, as well as the linebacker Hunter Hillenmeyer getting in there. Anthony Adams was there. Adam Archuleta, number 20.
D-line here all does their job. Watch Briggs fire up inside there and get the nice hit.
Yeah.
See, that was all started by Anthony Adams with his penetration on Steven Peterman, which allowed Briggs to get into the backfield for a nice tackle for loss.
Final seconds of the 3rd quarter. Last time the teams met, it was 13-3 Bears going into the 4th quarter. And then the fireworks started, and it became a shootout. What'll happen here? End of 3 quarters. Lions lead it.
new steroid crackdown for student athletes. Thursday at 9 on Fox News Chicago.
Welcome back to Soldier Field in Chicago. Sam Rosen, Tim Ryan, Mike Hall with you as we get set to start the fourth quarter. Lions 10th play of this drive, 2nd and goal at the 2-yard line. Kidna rolling and looking in the end zone and throws it away up into the crowd. I wonder if he had any family up there. No? Good grab up there.
You're going to throw it back? Oh, no. Oh, no.
So now a 3rd and goal. Well, got himself a nice souvenir. Good job. Rod Marinelli wants 7 from his offense.
Huge play for this Bears defense in terms of the confidence factor.
2 tight ends, both to the right side for the Lions. Bradley, the fullback. The toss to Jones behind Bradley. And the Bears string it out. Urlacher shoved him out of bounds. That's a big stand by the Bears after they gave up a first down on the offside call to Tommy Harris. The defense came up big.
Terrific job by Urlacher right here. He's the corner support guy. Watch him fight off this block of John Bradley there. Still keeps his outside shoulder free, can stay on his feet to run Kevin Jones out of bounds. Big time play by Brian Urlacher.
20-yard field goal try by Jason Hanson. The head coach looks on. Hanson hit the upright and it stayed out the last time. This one right through. Hanson is 3 for 4. The Lions have a 9-point lead at 16-7. Urlacher made a big play to keep him out of the end zone. Welcome back as the man in the middle, Devin Hester, is back deep. The Lions line up with 5 to the right of the kicker, 5 to the left of the kicker in a bunch, and a short kick by Hanson. Hester has it bounce by him and go out of bounds, and the Bears will start from the 40-yard line. So you sacrifice field position or you risk a big return.
Now that's what a weapon Devin Hester is. You'd rather defensively have the offense start on the 40 with your backs having to go 60 yards and giving Devin Hester a chance to take it all the way in for a score.
This is still the best idea that Rod Marinelli had.
Sam, look at the scoring percentage by field position, and this is a risk you play by not kicking to Devin Hester. If you don't kick to him, it goes out of bounds, and they get it on the 40. Look at that and where it is there on the 40. The percentage in scoring versus inside your own 20. That's a big number.
Now the Bears need a big comeback. Greasy throwing on first down wide of Bernard Berrien. Big day on Fox, doubleheader football day. Washington Redskins and the New England Patriots. Patriots 7-0, Washington 4-2. That's coming up. Then the OT and the new BCS standings. USC lost again. And then Game 4 of the World Series. Rockies trying to stay alive, and the Red Sox trying to win it all. Wrap it up tonight. Great day. Benson with a good run. He picked his way, found the hole, and he's into Lions territory at the 48. 12-yard pickup for Cedric Benson.
Couple of good blocks across the board. Not easy to move Sean Rogers out. Watch Olin Kreutz right here. He and Reuben Brown working together. That's just great vision by Benson because that hole was plugged and Benson caught it all the way back against the grain to pick up a positive gain.
Blitz coming. Greasy steps up under pressure, and that pass almost intercepted.
That is intercepted.
It ruled an interception, and the defender was down by contact. Greasy hurt on the play, but it is an interception by Keith Smith, who had the big interception in the fourth quarter in their first meeting.
Greasy took a nasty shot from Ernie Sims. They came on the blitz. He had to unload it before he wanted to. Keith Smith was able to get his hands underneath it, I think, and cradle it on the sideline. see Ernie Sims is just going to come flashing in. You see the big crease there. Here comes Sims. Pow. Wow.
Greasy was holding his knee.
Yeah, that's the bad knee that he had surgically repaired.
Oh, that's a great catch by Keith Smith. That's the 11th interception of the season for the Lions. 18 takeaways. On first down, Kitna hits Roy Williams, and he steps out of bounds right at the 45-yard line. Time for an NFL update. Let's go to Kurt Menefee.
Here's a shock. More scoring for the Indy offense. Peyton Manning, 59-yard touchdown pass to Reggie Wayne. Second on the day for Manning. Number 288 in his career. Breaks Johnny Unitas' Colts record. It's all Indy 24-7. Back to Sam and Tim.
He is just a pleasure to watch play football. Thank you, Kurt. It's building up to that big showdown next week. New England and Indianapolis. Jones and Bradley in the backfield. It's Bradley, the 300-pound fullback. Bradley gets a first down. It was second and a yard. Adam Archuleta made the tackle, but boy, the crowd has gotten quiet. The Bears were trying to get a comeback going, starting in good field position, and after the Benson first down, they throw the interception. Second interception thrown by Greasy in the game.
This could be a big statement here. If they can salt this thing away, get some more points on the board, that being Detroit here in the fourth quarter, to make a big statement, Sam, that they can win on the road.
Two tight ends. Go to Kevin Jones, and whistle stops the play. False start against the Lions.
False start, number 87 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Muhsin Muhammad. Lions, as we told you earlier, a couple of road games, one in Philadelphia. Yes, those are the Eagles in the ugly uniform. 56-21. And then they went into Washington with some confidence and got hammered. Washington totally shut them down.
Listen, I think a big part of it is getting number 34 back into the lineup offensively. Rod Marinelli told us, Mike Martz told us, despite all the stuff through the air, the tailback, that being Kevin Jones, is the guy that makes this offense work.
Ball back at the Lions 42. Jones bouncing off one man. Taken down at the 45-yard line. Lance Briggs and Adam Archuleta combine on the stop. On Kevin Jones, who has had a solid game as he approaches the 100-yard mark.
This is the biggest workload that he's had to date this season. I think, once again, you can't say it enough. If he had been put on the PUP, physically unable to perform, by rule, he would just be getting back this week, which would mean 2 more weeks of pads. He wouldn't be ready for 2 or 3 weeks. Very clever by Rod and his staff to have him ready to go right now.
And he's playing well. Everybody out. Kitna looking. Now he's hit and sacked for the 4th time in the game. Tommy Harris got there. Bears have 25 sacks this season. That's number 7 for Tommy Harris.
Tommy's just working on Steven Peterman. He's pressing what you call the B gap. That's the outside gap of the guard. Here's Tommy right here, and he's just going to work a rip move up to the outside of Peterman, 66. Work it, work it, work it. Now, if there's one thing that John Kitna has been guilty of, that's holding the football too long. That's a coverage sack. Gave Tommy Harris an opportunity to get him down for a loss.
Israel Adonijah in at defensive tackle for the Bears. Kitna throws to Roy Williams across midfield, and he's brought down at the Bears' 49-yard line. Combination of Ricky Manning and Lance Briggs. So the big sack, a very important play for the Bears, as the Lions now will be forced to punt. Lions unable to take advantage of the turnover this time. Earlier, when they got the interception by Kenoy Kennedy, they went on a 93-yard drive that ended up with a touchdown. Lions with a 16-7 lead. Nick Harris with his 4th punt of the game. And this one is angled way out of bounds. Let's see where they spot the ball as they keep it away from Devin Hester. But it's a good one for Harris. It's out of bounds at the Bears' 17-yard line.
2 takeaways right there in the total yards. They've got the ball back and have stymied Chicago drive.
Set Cedric Benson barely made it back to the line of scrimmage. No game on the play. Benson has carried 14 times for 49 yards in the game. Again, it's that 3 yards, 2 yards. He's had a couple of good runs today, but other than that, no big ones. Not many broken tackles.
If they're going to come back and win this game, it's got to be on Greasy's arm through the air. We've seen him do it a couple of times already this year.
Benson and McKee in the backfield. Play fake, in trouble. Dwayne White's got him. White, who had a couple of sacks last week against his former team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, gets one here. Second sack of the game for the Lions.
It's exactly what he told us about John Tate. I said, what are you going to do against Tate? He goes, I'm going to show him an outside rush, and then basically I'm going to come up here and then break it inside. It's exactly what he does. He's going to flash outside. As soon as Tate throws those hands up, boom, knocks him down, gets skinny, works the half a man, and gets himself a big-time sack.
And there's the after effect of a virtual no gain on first down, passing, and the Lions go all out and get to Greasy. Now, 3rd and long. Greasy's pass incomplete. 3 and out for the Bears. Fans react with the boos coming down from the stands as the Bears offense fails to get anything going.
And the thing you got to love about it is Rod Marinelli and his D coordinator Joe Barry, they're not blitzing. We've seen them blitz a couple of times, but this last drive they've gotten pressure with 4 guys, which means they're dropping 7, and there's nowhere for Greasy to go with the ball down the field.
Now Brad Maynard, middle of the end zone. Troy Walters standing in his own 45. Maynard, good high kick. Walters looks around at the 43. Nice return into Bears territory just across the 45-yard line. The Lions are in control. That was a 49-yard punt. Lions from the Bears 45. The toss to Kevin Jones, led by John Bradley. Ball's out. And Bears say they've got it. Still got scrambling going on, pushing and shoving on the sideline. The Bears have come up with the football. Raiola and Kreutz, the high school classmates. They were teammates in high school in Hawaii. Here's Jones.
Well, there's Tillman, who comes and just punches it out with his right hand. You see Tillman, Charles Tillman? Now Hunter Hillenmeyer inbounds, full possession before anything touches out of bounds. Hard to see with the Bear guy right there. Get a better look from this angle. Beautiful job by Tillman, just punching it out.
And
it looked like Hillenmeyer had it before anything touched out of bounds.
It almost was about to touch the sideline when he pulled it back in. The recovery by Hunter Hillenmeyer. Huge turnover.
Now, critical, Sam, the offense does something with it.
They need 2 scores. From the 39, Greasy being blitzed, connects with Barry, and he dropped it. Had it, juggled, dropped it. Keith Smith covering on the play.
Great job by Greasy. You read a blitz, they send the pressure right up the gut. Berrien is wide open. Here comes the blitz. Sims, who put a big shot on him last time. Terrific throw. Berrien just turned his head before he was able to bring the ball in for the catch.
Berrien is inconsistent. At times he can be brilliant, especially on the deep balls, and that one should have been caught, and he let it get away. Sheed Davis is in. 3 wide receivers for the Bears. Greasy checking off at the line. Greasy has time, pass behind, and falls incomplete. Was thrown on the back shoulder of the tight end Desmond Clark. Stanley Wilson almost had the interception. Came very, very close.
Brian Greasy just a little bit off today.
I agree.
Especially in comparison to the last 2 or 3 weeks where he's been really, really good. Look at those second half numbers.
He's been good in comeback situations. Devin Hester is in the game as a 3rd wide receiver, and he's out far to the right side. Everybody out. Greasy with time. Now rolls. Throwing back across to Hester. And they've got him. But Hester finds a way to get open. It's a big first down for the Bears. At the Lions' 42-yard line, they picked up 19 on the play.
Here's Hester here. He's just going to drag across the middle of the field. Going to run an in route. Now the scramble drill. Greasy scrambling. Comes back towards the quarterback. Good thing Ernie Sims has got a lot of heat, number 50, to be able to get Hester down from behind.
Hester to the sideline. Cedric Benson is back on the field and is actually lined up in the slot with McKee, the fullback, in the backfield. Greasy in trouble. Rolls, throws too low. Intended for Cedric Benson.
Get some urgency going.
Yeah. Benson's not a real good pass receiver, and he was kind of flat-footed on the play. He made
It wasn't a great throw. The throw was low, but you want to see some emotion. You want to see some desire.
Adrian Peterson, who's a better pass receiver out of the backfield, comes on the field. 3 wide receivers in for Chicago. The toss to Peterson. Cuts it back. Gets a couple of yards, and then he's pulled down at the 39-yard line. Corey Smith with the tackle. Corey Smith playing for the injured Kalimba Edwards.
And this is what you call pursuit, playing snap to whistle, because Corey Smith is all the way over there. He's going to flash. He's going to run all the way to this side of the field and get in on the tackle. That's what it's all about. And if you're a young kid watching at home, it's snap to whistle. You can't believe how many good things happen to defenders if they play to the whistle.
3 wide receivers for the Bears. 3rd and 7. He steps up. Blitz coming. Greasy throws behind Mark Bradley. Late flag. Fans respond. Stanley Wilson was the man covering Bradley, and it's against Stanley Wilson. Pass interference and a first down for Chicago.
Illegal snap, false start, number 48, offense. 5-yard penalty still, 4th down.
It's Don Muhlbach, the 4th-year man, the long snapper. Stan Kwan is the special teams coordinator. He has no doubt sent in instructions.
Can you tell he's not even breathing? He's holding his breath. He's waiting. There's no way they'll kick this to Devin Hester. No way.
Are you ready? You might get it. You ready?
I better get my kayak and get out in the water.
The Bears showed that they were going to try to block, and they dropped back, and this kick goes out of bounds. That's a great kick by Nick Harris as he angles it out of bounds, and it will be spotted at the 9-yard line. Great punt by Harris. So the Bears, who need 2 scores, will have to start from their 9. They have 2 timeouts remaining. The Lions with a 16-7 lead. And a lot more coming your way right here on Fox. Game 2 of our NFL doubleheader. Redskins and Patriots in New England. The OT with the new BCS standings. There'll be some more changes. Up top, Ohio State will be number 1, though. Then Game 4 of the World Series. And
Got
the
your broom
Red Sox
ready?
go for
Get
the
the
sweep.
broom ready.
I'm sensing sweep, big fella. Hester is in the game as a wide receiver. Greasy from the goal line. Connects with Greg Olsen. He's out of bounds at the 15. Picked up 6 on the play. Brian Greasy.
Chicago still with 2 timeouts left. They can work anywhere on the football field. Just find the open man. They got to get some big chunks here down the field now with it being 2 scores.
Greasy 16 for 30, 147 yards, 1 touchdown, but 3 interceptions. 9 in his 5 games as the starting quarterback. He connects again with Olsen. Olsen gets an extra 5 yards, goes out of bounds at the 25-yard line, a first down for the Bears. Greasy working the sideline with Greg Olsen. The Lions giving them short chunks of yardage here.
And they'll give that because I think they're so worried about Devin Hester deep. Here's Devin. He's down here at the bottom of your screen.
Hester, Muhammad, Varian, the wide receivers. Greg Olsen in the slot to the left. Greasy being pressured. Gets rid of it to Adrian Peterson. That was thrown low, and Peterson couldn't grab it.
Dwayne White has been everywhere today for the Lions on defense. He has really given John Tate, the left tackle for Chicago, about all he can handle. The guy has been just a little up and down this year, but coming off of a very, very good game last week against Tampa with 3 sacks, he has not let anybody down. He's really played well for Detroit defensively today.
A couple of finals in the NFL. Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati 24-13. Pittsburgh now 5-2. Greasy with time and juggled and dropped by Desmond Clark. Again thrown to his back shoulder and almost intercepted. The Lions have been around the ball all afternoon.
Those are balls that Des Clark will usually catch. And for some reason today, he's a little off. Greasy's a little off with the accuracy. Not giving his guys really an opportunity to catch it in stride and run. They're almost all having to stop and reach back, but one that Desmond Clark, I think 9 out of 10 times, is going to catch.
One other final, Tennessee beats Oakland 13-9. Tennessee having a good year, bounce back year, 5-2. Short pass, complete to Varian up at the 39-yard line. It is enough for a first down. That's a big
Like to get another playoff here before the 2-minute warning.
14-yard pickup. Bears hurry to the line. Greasy gets him set to get the play off. And he throws short down to the backfield. Adrian Peterson gets across midfield to the Lions 49. Enough for a first down. They move the chains. And we have reached the 2-minute warning with 1:56 on the clock and the Bears trailing.
Did you see that?
Bears need to score in a hurry. We're under 2 minutes to go. Greasy in trouble, dumps it off to Adrian Peterson. Can't get to the sideline. Clock keeps running. The Bears have only 2 timeouts remaining. No huddle. Greasy getting Muhsin Muhammad set. Evan Hester is in along with Bernard Varian. Jumping across the line comes Corey Smith. And they call false start. It's going to be a false start on the Bears. That sets them back 5.
Takes false start.
False start, number 76. Offense, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
John Tate, the left tackle, moved. Nope.
Yep, there it is.
Right.
A little rock, a little flinch. That's all it takes. That draws that defensive guy. Even if it doesn't, it's a false start.
7 penalties on the Bears in the game. 2nd and 9. Greasy under pressure. Dumps it off again to Peterson. 2 men there. Peterson gets down to the 41-yard line. Brings up a 3rd down.
And you know why Backus is jumping off sides. Corey Smith just absolutely bowled him under his chin. Holy cow.
Tate, you mean Tate.
Or Tate, excuse me.
Greasy throws, completes to Olsen. And he gets down to the 30-yard line, close to the 29. First down Bears, but only 1 minute left, and the Bears need 2 scores. Greasy spikes the ball to stop the clock.
We saw Tate jump off sides. Watch him here. Corey Smith's going to push. Now he's just going to get drove. He's got to hold and basically tackle Corey Smith. Oh, my goodness.
There's a flag on the play. And the officials talking it over on the far side. There's Big John Tate.
There's no foul in the play for 12 men on the field. They had only 11.
Somebody miscounted. The Green Bay Packers lead the NFC North with a 5-1 record. They play in Denver tomorrow night. The Lions would be pressing for first place. Cleveland has defeated St. Louis.
The previous play.
Going to review the last play. Cleveland Browns have started to get their game together. They're now 4-3 after a bad start. Derek Anderson, their quarterback, taking over. St. Louis Rams are 0-8. Boy, it has been a nightmare right here for the Detroit Lions and Rod Marinelli. They are less than a minute away from one of their biggest wins in a long time.
Meaningful win for Rod Marinelli if they're able to finish this thing. And you got to be so happy for him. The hard work, just nonstop coaching, has coached this team hard. They've practiced hard. They've worked hard. I think he finally realizes he's getting the right guys around. There's a lot less discipline, a lot more coaching. I think it's showing up on the football field for him. A little inconsistent, but a win on the road, one here in Chicago, is going to go a long way for the confidence and the psyche of this Lions football team.
And when you say a lot less discipline, you don't mean that the team is disciplined because they've learned the coach doesn't have to hammer discipline every week.
Exactly, and disciplining guys, and you're in trouble, and you got to run, and you're out of here, and we got to. And now it's like, all right, I got my guys. This is what we want to do. Let's believe in our scheme on both sides of the ball. Let's coach it. Let's learn to execute. Let's get better at our craft every day. And it's starting to show up.
And on both sides of the ball, Rod Marinelli certainly implemented the defense. Joe Berry, as defensive coordinator, has done a great job. And on the offensive side, we've talked about it. Mike Martson has put together an outstanding offense. A lot of it due to the fine talent that they've drafted, because they've drafted so high for several years.
That's right.
You got Roy Williams, and now you got Calvin Johnson.
I think I'm most impressed, and I know the running game was solid, Kitna and good numbers. I think I'm most impressed today with the back seven for the Lions and how they covered, because Greasy was red hot coming into this game through the air. He's got legitimate weapons all over the field, 5 legitimate weapons. And that secondary for the Lions have really throttled them down quite a bit in terms of what type of success the Chicago Bears have had through the air today.
And the Bears, on the negative side, have been guilty of giveaways. On the positive side, the Kitna with a strong leadership job. Roy Williams, another solid game. 8 catches, 77 yards. Let's hear from Pete Morelli.
After reviewing the play, there were 12 men on the field. Defense, 5-yard penalty, still first and 5.
All right, so they got the count right. After all, the review coming from upstairs. The Lions are penalized. The Bears have the ball 1st and 5 at the 25-yard line. 57 seconds remaining. And the Bears need 2 scores. And they have 2 timeouts remaining. Greasy going for the end zone for Hester. Incomplete. He took a hard hit. And a couple of players shaken up. Keith Smith of the Lions still down on the ground, and so is Devin Hester.
You were almost waiting for this to happen. Devin Hester at wide receiver. Now we're going to find out in the weeks to come how much he really wants to play receiver and how much they want him to play receiver in terms of putting himself in harm's way with big hitters.
And that's Paris Lennon, number 53, not 23. My apologies.
Paris Lennon in front, Kenoy Kennedy in back. Kenoy Kennedy's got a reputation as a big hitter. And that's the thing that you worry about with Devin Hester. He's such a weapon in your special teams, and we've seen that. We all know that. They want to get him more touches, but you get him on offense, you get him dragging across the middle of the field, and it's bound to happen that he's going to take big hits in traffic.
He's 5'11", 186. And the Lions are trying to use him in as many ways as possible to maximize his offensive capabilities. But that time he went up in the air and took the hard hit and is still down. Hopefully only the wind knocked out of him.
Correction again, our Rule 14 will be starting the timeout. Chicago will have 1, and Detroit will have 1 regular timeout.
Final score in from London, the Giants holding off the Miami Dolphins and defeating the Dolphins 13-10. The Giants go 6-2. And we welcome those of you who watch the Giants defeat the Miami Dolphins 13-10. Sam Rosen, Tim Ryan, Mike Hall here in Chicago. where the Detroit Lions lead the Chicago Bears 16-7. Devin Hester shaken up on the last play, and as a wide receiver, the pass intended for him at the goal line was broken up and he took a hard hit. The Lions looking for their 5th win of the season. Griese has been intercepted 3 times, throwing deep, 4th interception of the game. Fernando Bryant picks it off. The Lions lead the NFL in takeaways. That is their 20th of the season. That is their 13th interception. It has been a dismal day for Brian Griese and the Bears.
Griese just underthrows that. It is what it is. It looked like he had Muhsin Muhammad on a corner route behind Fernando Bryant, and he just underthrows it. Out of the shotgun, lets that thing go, and you can see Muhsin Muhammad needed to be like back in here, about the middle of the end zone. And that's a good job by Fernando Bryant.
That's the 3rd interception by the Lions in the end zone today.
That secondary has played great, and I know Joe Barry has got to be so proud of the guys on the back end, the defensive coordinator. You know, there's something to this zone defense. The more you play it, the more you play zone, the more looks of zone that you show, eventually the offense is going to self-destruct. That's what's happened today.
Rod Marinelli, the head coach of the Lions. It's a big day for Detroit. They're about to go 5-2, and they will be half a game behind the first-place Green Bay Packers. Only the 2nd win for the Lions at Soldier Field in the last 7 visits. The good friends, Lovie Smith and Rod Marinelli, as they say of one another, family forever. This time it's Rod Marinelli coming out of Chicago with a huge win.
Great win for Rod. Tough one for Lovie and the Bears. Now they got to let that sit for 2 weeks. They got the bye coming up.
The post-game show is coming up, and then the Redskins and the Patriots. Let's go to Kurt Menefee in the studio.
Welcome to the AT&T.
The Bears stumble into the bye at 3-5 on the year. 16-7 was your final on the lakefront. Just like they failed to follow up that huge road win at Green Bay, they don't take the momentum from that big road victory at Philadelphia last week. Beaten just about every phase of the game. Lovie's crew now 1-3 on the lakefront this year. Brian Griese ties a career high with 4 interceptions in this game. 3 of those came in the end zone as the Lions take care of the Bears 16-7. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live. I am Pat Boyle, alongside 3 former Bears, the stylish Pro Bowl corner, Jerry Azuma, 11-year NFL vet, Jim Miller, and our lead blocker, number 62, Dan Jiggets. Guys, who would have ever imagined some 8 months removed from the Super Bowl that we would be here at 3-5 and basically at the midway point of the season be done with the season?
It's really amazing. It's hard to believe because there's so much talent on this football team and can't do the basic fundamentals of football. You know, here we're facing the Detroit Lions today. They've seen that defense, the Tampa 2, every year for 3 years, and they could not move the ball.
Well,
that is amazing.
This is the most complete game by the Bears today. It really was. When you think about it, I mean, because they did everything in one game that you didn't want to see them do. Everything that they could do wrong at any given game, they kind of poured it all into one game today. They're going to sit down and look at that tape, and they're going to be embarrassed to watch the performance from today. Credit, though, the Detroit Lions with coming in here, sticking to their game plan and staying with it.
A lot of questions right now. This is a very below-average football team in many, many areas. Brian Griese had an absolutely horrible game. We're going to break it down over the next 90 minutes. We'll hear Lovie and Brian Griese's press conferences in their entirety. You know Lovie's going to be asked if there'll be a change at quarterback over the bye. Plus, William Jackson will have player interviews from Soldier Field. And we invite you, as always, to get interactive with our opening kickoff, and as always, we begin with Dan Jiggets. Jigs, what do you have for us?
Well, the whole thing is from the first snap to the last snap, you have to play with a lot of intensity. That was something that looked like today, and I go back to something that I always like to watch, the offensive line. You look at the pass protection they were giving Griese, and those 4 interceptions, probably 3 of them you can turn back and say maybe it was a result of what was happening with the offensive line. And the run game, it's an attitude. You develop it, you want to run over some people, then come out and do it. Don't talk about it, do it.
Jim, what do you have for us?
I think the same thing. It kind of coincides with what Dan Jiggets said. You know, that just the basic fundamentals of football. Protection, can't do it. Run the football, can't do it. Stop the run, struggle to do that. So I mean, today it was a collective effort in all three phases. I mean, it was some bad football.
Yeah, there was some terrible football out there. Like you said, the basic fundamentals of football. You know, you got to catch the ball when the ball's thrown to you. You have to tackle those running backs. You know, you have to get back to the basic fundamentals, and that's what made the Chicago Bears good, and they just aren't doing it right now.
Let's get to Greasy's day. Obviously horrible. 4 interceptions for him. That matches a career high. 3 of those came in the end zone. Here's his first half and second half breakdown. 12 of 17 for the 86 yards. Then in the second half, completely off the charts. Only the touchdown pass to Greg Olsen. Jim, from your vantage point, by far this was his worst game as a member of the Bears, but break it down for us.
Well, I think when you look at the first interception, what Brian Griese did, he was just kind of lazy with the safety. You know, predetermined where he was going with the football.
It was clear it was cover 2.
Yeah, as a quarterback, you can't do that. Obviously, the safety ran over, I think it was Kanoe Kennedy on the play, made the big pick. So he's just kind of lazy with his eyes in that situation. The second 2, what Dan and I broke down, some protection issues. Once a deep play action pass gets hit in the legs as he's going, just didn't feel comfortable in the pocket. And last one's just a desperation throw. But clearly those need to be better decisions.
You know, and you can see it with both quarterbacks, really. Both of them with opportunities. When they had opportunities to step up in the pocket, they could deliver the football. You saw when Detroit really got going, Kitten had an opportunity to step back and all of a sudden step up into the pocket with the football, and that's when he became deadly because the defensive line for a period of time failed to rush the passer. The same thing with Griese. When you look at what was going on with him, he couldn't step up and deliver that football like he really wanted to, and that's because that pressure was sitting back in his lap.
You know he's going to be asked, Lovey, when he steps to the podium there at Soldier Field, should he stay with Brian Griese? All right, let's look at this big picture. 3-5. The stat is since 2000, only 1 of 43 teams has made it to the postseason after starting 3-5. So obviously the odds are stacked against him. If you look at this team and say, all right, now we need to start looking to next year. Is Brian Griese, or should we go back to Kyle Orton? Or do you go back to Rex? I mean, there's some questions that when the season is basically lost, you need to figure out what you have. If you were in that position for the Chicago Bears right now, would you stay with Griese? Would you go back to Rex? Or would you give Kyle a chance?
Definitely stay with Griese. Griese has shown some poise. You know, he had a bad game today, but in the past, he's played with poise, and you know what he can do. Like last week, you know, against the Eagles, he sustained a drive that was 97 yards, headphones went out, and he was calling his own plays, and it worked. So you got to stay with a person like that.
Well, I just think, one, the season's not lost yet, so I think we got to keep that in perspective. But you're starting to count on everything else to happen. Other teams have to lose, so that's going to be the scenario that they're in right now. So not lost yet. They'll probably stick with Brian Griese. They just got to play better football completely on offense.
And this is what we talked about when they made the decision to go to Brian. Don't come back to me in 3 weeks and then say, I want to switch back to Rex. Yeah, right. If you want to go to Griese, then go with him. Find out what he does over the remainder of the season. Or if it gets too bad, then you say, well, give Orton a chance. But in terms of going back and forth with Rex, I don't know if it does Rex any service either to keep bouncing him back and forth. So you figure out, because they've obviously made a decision in regard to Rex and what they want to do with the future with Rex Grossman. Now the thing is they have to figure out if they can live with that decision.
A lot of people flooding the emails right now, ripping Griese. A lot of people are questioning the play calling. This is a great one. Adele from Chicago says, will someone please tell me, is Shoop calling plays in Chicago? Please don't remind us of that, even though it is Halloween. This offense has zero flow. At least on defense, we know they run a cover 2. They're weak at the safety position. They got some good linebackers, and their front 4 can play well at times and cannot play well at times. Offensively, I have no idea what to say about this team right now.
Jerry Angelo said something today on the show on WBBM radio. He said, you know, the problem that we have, like particularly at the running back position, is that we have not had the big gain. You know, the 20, the 30-yarder. Well, today Cedric had a couple of plays where he's running the ball. He gets a 12-yarder, he gets an 8-yarder. But by the same token, he'll have 3 or 4 or 5 where he'll get 1 yard or 2 yards, and that's a lack of consistency. I did see the offensive line coming off the football today and reestablishing the line of scrimmage like we always talked about. But for whatever reason, it seems like they just can't get it going on a consistent basis, and that goes back, I think, in large part, who's running the football.
Said Benson, 13 carries, 50 yards, 3.8. That might have been your grade point average at Harvard. Not great production, although probably the best we've seen to date on the yards per carry situation, but he doesn't seem to have any confidence. Adrian, only 2 touches. He, again, 5.5 yards. That's something we've seen from him offensively.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Makes you wonder.
It does make you wonder.
Absolutely
Why not
makes you
more?
wonder.
Why not
Right.
more of him? Give him, if you're going to make dramatic changes like pull Rex and give Brian the opportunity. I mean, look,
Hey, look,
fourth
look,
overall
let's
pick,
be
that's
honest.
the reason. The
Let's be
reason
honest.
is where he was selected in the draft.
The reason why this guy's still playing is because they put $15 million into his pocket.
Which is
and they got to
pathetic.
figure out some way to try to get it out of him. But you know what? If you don't want to run, if you don't want to give it the kind of effort and get into the football game, then sit down and let somebody else do it that really wants to play. If you don't want to play and you don't want to give the effort, sit down, have a seat. They won't fine you for that.
I would love to see AP get in there. You know, he's a productive guy. He can play first down, he can play second down, he can play third down. You know, and they make a lot of adjustments with bringing out Benson on third down. They put in AP. Why not give AP a chance to let him go out there and see what he can do?
What I think is interesting about this football game is just look at the play calling as a whole. What did Detroit do to slow down the defensive tackles of the Chicago Bears? They ran some trap plays. We don't see any of that stuff. That's where their biggest runs came from Kevin Jones in this game. And then it helped John Kitna in his pass protection because it slowed those defensive tackles down. Conversely, the Bears cannot do that.
You know, here's a question you ask yourself. So, creative offensive minds are usually thinking a couple of plays ahead. It's not one of these things where, okay, now we got to get a second and, and 6. What do we do here? They've usually worked that out in their minds and kind of moved along past that. Do you think that that's happening in this situation?
I think it is somewhat happening. I think that, it's a struggle. This Bears offense has tried to evolve. They tried to be aggressive. We see them putting it up here. How many times today? Over 40 times they threw the ball again today. That's not their MO. You said it. The foundation has always been here. Run the football. They cannot do it. They flat out cannot run the ball right now.
All right, you talk about the breakdown from Mike Martz. He ran the ball 28 times, threw it 35. So pretty good balance there, certainly in Mike Martz's terms. Let's talk about the defense that went up against the Lions on this day. The great goal line stance, came up with a turnover there in the second half. All in all, though, inconsistent on the defensive side. And Adam Archuleta, if you want to step up and make a tackle, we're all waiting.
Now's the time.
We're all waiting.
Time to do it.
I hate to rip the guy, but I don't understand how that guy's still on the football field.
That position went from one of strength early in the year when we're sitting around in training camp and everybody's talking about the safety spot and going, man, you know what? Well, I'll tell you one thing. They got rid of a bunch of guys back there, and those guys are still playing in the National Football League, and some of them having a positive impact. And unfortunately, the well kind of went dry here because of injuries. So that's a big problem for them. They have now switched all these guys around and moved all the pieces around on the chessboard, but for a lot of circumstances, it's just not working.
The Bears have always been solid with tackling, and I just don't understand what's going on right now with stopping the run. The Bears defense have always been able to stop the run. They have guys up front that can basically do that, but it seems like there's some guys are getting out of their lanes, and if a guy's running, you have to be able to tackle him. If you can't tackle him, man, it's going to be a long day.
If you look at this team right now on both sides of the ball, do you think they have the players that could get them to the playoffs and it's poor coaching or a combination of injuries? Or do you really think they are depleted in certain areas, some key areas, namely the safety position? We lost a top-flight running back
and a cornerback
for this system.
Right, and a cornerback.
And a cornerback.
Nathan Vasher, sure.
So, are the players there, or is this more a problem they don't have the horses right now?
I think it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I think it's, Tommy Harris not healthy. You mentioned Vasher. Tillman's been hurt. Urlacher's playing injured. I think it all factors in. There's no question about it. But, just not performing at the level of what we're accustomed to seeing. And I think everybody obviously has chinks in their armor, and the Bears are showing their chinks right now.
It seems like everything that could go wrong has indeed gone wrong.
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
We're waiting Lovie Smith's press conference live from Soldier Field. We will take that and bring that to you right here on Comcast SportsNet as soon as that happens. He's going to be asked about the quarterback position. And he's stepping up to the podium right now. I'm being told Lovie Smith set to address the media. It's brought to you by AT&T Real Yellow Pages. Let's listen in.
Disappointing, at the halfway point of our season with the 3-5 record. There's no other way to put it except for that. Today, looking at today's game, most of our games, as you look at them this year, we're about taking the ball away. And lately we haven't been able to get any turnovers to really talk about. That one, of course, was big to get us back in the game there at the end. On the other side of the ball, it's about turning the football over. We have to have better ball security. We didn't do those two things today. That's our basic philosophy for winning football games, and I know it's for most people. Running game-wise, we didn't get anything going. I mean, they were able to run the ball on us. We weren't able to run the ball on them. It was one of those days. We had a lot at stake on this football game. I thought we would play better, but, we didn't. If there is a good part is that we get a chance to, to go back to work, go back to the basics. When you don't play as well, that's what you do. You go back to the basics. We have an extra week to do that. Just try to figure out exactly, what has gone wrong this first half. And that's normally how the flow of a football game goes. You go in at halftime, you try to analyze what you've done to that point and go from there. So that's where we are. Injury-wise, we didn't have any injuries to really talk about. Hester went down there for, at the end, but he came back in. So that's where we are. Question?
Is Brian trying to do too much with those plays in the end zone again?
Well, he's trying to make plays, but, we have to. It's simple. We can't turn the football over. So if that means, not throwing it in those spots, trying to make the big play, dumping it off, that's a base part of what we do too.
Were you surprised with the Lions' offense today and how consistent they were?
No, they're a good offense. And we haven't played as well as we need to defensively. Of course, the plan was to shut them down a lot more than we did. Again, right now as a football team, offense, defense, special teams, we're not playing well.
Are you more disappointed with the way you're playing or that the way you came into this game, knowing how much was at stake, as you said, and then to not fire up?
There's not different degrees of disappointment for me. It's a loss. I'm disappointed in it, period.
With the Lions' success on offense, mostly from what you saw against zone or against man?
We played more zone than man, but, most zones turn into man once the play develops. So zone, man, it's about making the plays when you get in position to do that, whether it's zone or man, and we didn't do that.
A couple more. How do you explain being able to come back in the second half on the road?
I'm sorry, one more time?
How do you explain being able to come back on the road in Green Bay and Philadelphia, but in the second half against Minnesota and Detroit here at home?
I can't explain it. Pretty simple. If I could explain those things, I would have done something about it before now. So that's where we are.
Love you, probably about before the game having an arthritic back condition.
Brian admitted having an arth. I don't know anything about that. So if Brian admitted that to you, you got to talk to Brian about that. It was an online report.
He's quoted as saying he went to Pittsburgh for an MRI.
I'm not going to get into any of that right now. If there's something that Brian talked to you about, as far as I know, what I know with Brian, he played today. He's not on the injury list. And as far as back, his back, again, there's nothing wrong with his back that would cause him not to be able to play.
Thanks, everybody. Locker room.
Thank you.
A stern Lovie Smith addressing the media at Soldier Field live here on Comcast Sports. Here's a look at the coaching report card, C, B-, C. And again, as we look at the coaching situation, we also look at Bob Babich and Ron Turner factored into this equation. Jim, you give it a B-. Even with that offensive game plan, you can go with the B-.
Well, I think still a coach can only do so much. Guys got to catch the ball. What was there?
Right.
6 drops again today.
At least 6.
Blocking, one-on-one. Double teaming Sean Rogers. Can't stop him. Double team. Guys abusing people. And then John Tate's one-on-one Dwayne White. It's just execution on the football field. So I love those guys. I know they work hard, but they know that, like Dan said, that watching that film tomorrow, that will not be pretty to watch as a player.
And and I earlier had gotten on Cedric Benson pretty good. I'll stay with that, by the way. I'll keep with that. Because when I look at the difference between the two running backs, and if you can't see the difference, then you're not looking at the same game that I'm looking at. When one guy gets up the field and gets an opportunity and gets a crease, he's gone for 6 or 7 yards, and the other guy gets stopped for a 1-yard gain, or in some cases no gain at all. That's partly him. Okay? The other part of it can be the offensive line and what's going on up there. And we're going to get a little bit deeper into that, too, because there are times when this offensive line does not give him that crease. And then that's when you see him dive into the ground because he's heading into the line of scrimmage and there's nothing there. That's where you have to have a different kind of a back a guy that tries to create something when there is nothing. That's what a truly great back does.
Brian from Iowa City echoes your comments there, Jigs. He writes in, when are the Bears going to realize that Benson can't break tackles and he has no speed burst? They have Peterson and Wolf. When will they become starters? Garrett Wolf inactive for this game. That says a lot to me, that he was not even dressed to play in this game. But we watch this game from a defensive standpoint. When it's one-on-one and you're the 4th pick overall in the draft and you come in heralded from a great Big 12 school, all Texas, all everything as a high school player, and you're one-on-one with a linebacker or D-back and you can never make them miss, that's where the criticism comes from.
Yeah, definitely. It's an attitude thing, you know. Last year, he showed some signs of, you know, what he can run with the rock. But this year, you know, he has a starting opportunity to go out there and make a name for himself, and he's just not going out there and doing it. He's not running with a chip on his shoulder. And like Jig said, you know what? You can't fault the offensive line for some of the things that they've been doing, but at the same time, the great running backs create certain things, and he's not creating anything right now.
Yeah, I tell you what, you go back to last year and you look at everybody says, well, you got to stop crying about Thomas Jones. One of the reasons why Thomas Jones was so valuable to this football team is because he kept the pressure on Cedric. Cedric knew that if he didn't go out there and give you everything he had and perform at that really top level, and that's not saying that he's gone out dogging it. I don't know. I don't know if he's going out dogging or not, but I know one thing. When you got somebody like Thomas Jones starting in front of you and doing all those things that we talked about, and you want to get on the field, you sure change your attitude and your mind then.
And another big issue about Benson, too, is the third down situation. I'm not understanding exactly. I mean, if you're investing all this money and time, you have to block on third down and be able to catch. And they're taking him out for
Speaking of
that.
drops, you know, we saw that today.
Saw the very first play right out of the backfield, sent it to him, and he could not convert. We got a lot to get to. It's not just going to be a pick on Cedric Benson or Brian Gray. There's problems, drops everywhere, drops on the defensive side. Should have been some picks out there earlier on in the game.
Let's play it again.
As we head to break, here's our Cadillac poll question this week. What are your feelings on the Bears' first half of the season at 3-5? Where do you stand? Is it the offense is still a work in progress? B, surprised by the way the defense has played so far? C, understandable. It's the Super Bowl hangover theory. D, saw some positives. Or E, total disappointment, not looking forward to the second half. Go to ComcastSportsNet.com, hit the link to Chicago, then click the Bears page, vote away, plus send us your email questions to US Cellular Bears postgame live. Furious like Zach here. Why can't the Bears score any points in the first quarter lately? Let me tee you up on this one, Jim. They come out, throw. First 3 plays. Talk about the scripting of plays, what you saw from this offense, and figuring out you were going up against a pretty bad defense in the Detroit Lions.
Absolutely. Well, when you look at how the Bears attacked the Detroit Lions, that's what Tampa Bay did to them last week. Jeff Garcia was outstanding. One time completed 18 in a row. But guess what? They protected their quarterback. That's why he was able to do that. And the Lions still beat them as well. So they are good on the defensive side of the ball. The defensive front is good, but coverage is horrible. When you look at the Bears again, couldn't execute. Guys not holding on the ball, not crisp routes. All these things factor in. That's why
here's some numbers for you. In terms of points allowed, they are 29th, although that might have changed after today. Yards allowed, they're 30th. Passing yards allowed, they're 30th. And rushing yards allowed, they're 19th. So maybe that's the reason why they came out and said, well, we'll throw against them because they're the 30th in the passing game. I don't know, but it's I always believe that you have to come out and, number one, you have to have an identity going in, and we've always heard that that's to run the ball offensively, and then, and then from there you take it the natural progression that we always talk about. If you want to become a passing team, then you've got to actually develop a football team around that idea.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that they have right now.
How many times today did you see, Brian drop back, look left or right, and it seemed like there were 3 or 4 Lions always converging on the area that he threw it. Yeah. There is zero running game, and you saw Detroit with the play action.
There you
How
go.
effective were they? With Kevin Jones goes over 100 yards, but the play action, they were making.
They had gaps.
Urlacher, they had huge gaps.
That's right.
He would bite, hold it. They'd hit, Sean coming across on a cross route.
And that's what was great. They did it off of that trap play where he was basically in the shotgun, or he did it from one back where he faked and caused Urlacher to break up, and then he hits Mike Fury on the middle.
So what
read.
does this all bring us back to? running the football.
Right, it does. It really does. And the fact that they can't do it. Also, the drop balls. I mean, Bernard Berrian has been a guy that has been, the focal point of this passing attack the last couple years. He had a real bad game this week.
Yeah, he had a rough game. This whole season, it's been the basic fundamentals, and there's been a lot of drops at the wide receiver position. But Bernard, he has to step up. I mean, it's simple and plain. He is the guy, and he's the go-to guy. He's a deep threat, but you have to start catching the ball.
Well, he was supposed to,
Just have to start
this was supposed to be a season for him where he kind of ascended to that upper level.
Right.
I mean, if you look at what he got started last year, this year was supposed to be a monster year for him, and it just so turns out it's a contractual year for him as well. But I don't know if he's got his full concentration on on that aspect of the game, where he kind of losing it because of what else is going on right now in his life financially.
The Bears sacked Jon Kitna 4 times on this day. Mark Anderson is standing by, one of the members of that defensive line, with our William Jackson. Take it away, Billy Jack.
I appreciate it, Pat, here with Mark Anderson, as you said. And I know you guys had visions of going to the bye week 4-4. It didn't happen today. Just unfortunate, huh?
Yeah, we just couldn't pull it out today. The Lions, they played good. Defense, we didn't do what we were supposed to do. And they got the ball in the end zone a couple of times, and we need to play better than that.
After last game, when they beat you there, and then coming off the emotional win last week, did you think that you guys would come out and probably do a little more early?
Yeah, we thought we was gonna go out there, stop their offense, create some turnovers, get our offense in great field position, and hopefully they'll capitalize on that. But it didn't turn out like that today. We had another loss. We just have to come out there and after the bye week, the next game we have, we'll just go out there and try to get a victory.
What do you need to do? Because now you have an extra week to think about it, but when you come back, what has to be the focus now?
The focus, we just got to take it one game at a time like we've been doing. The focus is just, basically just stopping the run on defense, stopping the run, getting after the passer when it's a passing situation, and just try to, create turnovers. Like I said, so we can get our offense in great position so they can get in great position to score. Other than that, we just got to step it up, get back to playing Chicago Bears defense, man.
All right. Well, appreciate it, though. All right. Have a good bye week and try to get it going, huh? All right. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to bring in right now Mark Bradley. And I tell you, when we look at last week, the way you guys finished the game on a high note, a lot of intensity, it may have been the thought that you would come out here and just start clicking. Was that your mindset as well?
I mean, we work on 2-minute offense every day. Well, every once a week. That's a drill that we do every week, and we have rhythm in it. We just expect to go out there and execute our offense, and we just fell short of that.
And I know it's frustrating because I know you guys were talking all week. The fight song was to go to the bye week 4-4 and start anew. Now it makes it a little more difficult.
It puts us behind the 8 ball a little bit. Expectations were high. We fell short of that, and we got a whole week to think about our outcome of what we can do about the rest of the remaining of the football. So we get a chance to think about it and go back to the drawing board and get that week by and go out there and show how explosive our offense can be.
Okay. They tried to come to you twice in the end zone. Those things were picked off. What happens in those situations?
I don't know. I don't know if Greasy could step up and make the throw, or I don't know what happened. I was told on the last one that he got pressure in front of him, so he couldn't step into the throw. So the ball was hanging there and trying to go up and make a challenging catch. And when the quarterback throws it up, I'm still supposed to make those plays. So just got to go out and work harder on it.
Okay. What do you do to try and turn this thing around? You kind of talked about it earlier because you still have half a season left, but a whole lot of work to do, and you need some other people to help now.
It's all a self-check. You check yourself on and see if you're doing all the things to help this team win. And when you have a gut check personally, it brings the chemistry back to the team. It all becomes a one. It's all about the team. And, once you get the gut check and your team starts to get closer and you're starting to build from that point on, then that's when you start having success.
Even more frustrating, though, the Lions, divisional opponent who had beaten you once, that has to be more frustrating.
divisional game. You know, we got to win those games. We got to win every game, but, you know, especially divisional games.
Okay, Mark, appreciate it, man.
No problem.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Okay, we'll see you in a bit. All right, Pat, let's go back to you in the studio.
All right, William, thank you very much. And to Mark Bradley, one of the other stories coming into this game was Brian Urlacher. While he didn't have much to say to the local media this week, he did talk to Fox Sports' Jay Glazer. And Urlacher told him his back has been bothering him all season. He visited a specialist in Pittsburgh this week, and Brian said he has an arthritic condition, and his back injury is, quote, more painful than when he tore his hamstring in 2004. He also told Glazer he's having problems bending down and backpedaling. It's something I have to fight through, and that the condition is not career-threatening. You're very good friends with Brian Urlacher. You talk to him all the time. What has he said about this injury, and where do you think he is right now? Because I thought he played a pretty good football game today.
Yeah, he's pretty solid. I mean, he's the type of guy that's a warrior. He's going to go out there and suit up, you know, and try to win the football game. You know, unfortunately, he has been a little bit hurt, but no one's 100%, you know, when you're playing football and you're playing a football game. He's been a little bit hurt, but he's been doing the necessary things to get himself healthy enough to go out there and produce on the football field every Sunday.
What did you think of this defensive effort today, Jiggs? You know, Kevin Jones goes over 100 yards. You know, they were able to answer when Greasy hit Orton on that touchdown pass.
They came right back.
They came right back.
Well, you know, and let's talk about Kevin Jones, too, and their run game, because we always talk about where the Bears are vis-a-vis the run. Let's look at Detroit. Kevin Jones comes back from Liz Frank injury, you know, and that basically means that your dogs are hurting you pretty bad. And he comes back and today pounds out the football. Now, he didn't go for over 100 yards, but I think he averaged 4.6 yards per carry, and that opened everything else up for them. You know, you start looking at where the Bear defense was having a tough time. Number one, we always talk about the essentials of the game. You got to be able to wrap the guy up and get him to the ground. Number two, this team has been designed and built on the defense creating turnovers. That only happened once today. And that's something that's been going on, another pattern that's been developing with this defense. And then the other thing was, you know, if you don't get any pressure on that quarterback, and that's what happened with John Kitna, he sits back there, and we talked about him being able to step up in that pocket and find his receivers, and he ate them alive. I mean, you know, you look at 10 yards here, 15 yards here, 24 yards here. That's getting gashed as a defense.
And I think a little bit has to do with coaching as well. You know, you have to make those adjustments. Cover two is the basic coverage that the Chicago Bears play on defense, but they have to switch it up. Maybe some man-to-man, you know, more zone blitzes, create some of that pressure on the quarterback.
How different, just in looking at the game, do you think that this defense is this year from what, you know, we saw last year with Ron here? How different are the personnel employed this year than they were last year?
I mean, I think it's completely different, as we can all see. But, you know, people just have to basically step up, you know, and that's the bottom line. And they're just not doing it.
I think, obviously, they don't have a lot of depth in the secondary right now with those injuries. You know, what we saw from about week 10 on last year was a team that was susceptible to giving up a lot of yards on the ground. We've seen that trend continue this year. But all in all, the linebackers, I think, have played as well as they have last year. Secondary-wise, certainly you miss not having Nate Vasher out on that other corner.
And what do you miss on the defensive line?
Well,
a healthy Tommy Harris.
Tank Johnson, Ian Scott.
Tank Johnson, Ian Scott. Okay, maybe you miss Alex Brown to the extent that he was for the most part, the down guy, and then you had a Mark Anderson coming in off the bench in pass rush situations. Maybe that was a better tune for him to play than the one that he's playing right now. I don't know. But, you know, I imagine they're going to sit down and look at all the tape from the first half of the season, and there are going to be some decisions made over this week or so.
Just think of that score, though. 16 points. You mean to tell me against a bad Detroit Lions defense, you can't score more? I thought the defense played pretty well. They were put in some bad situations, the goal line stand. All those things factor in. The offense failed this team.
And they wouldn't have probably scored that touchdown had it not been for the great punt return of Devin Hester. 39-yard punt return sets that one up. And number 2-3 is standing by live with our William Jackson on U.S. Cellular Bears postgame live. Take it away, William.
Appreciate it, Pat. Here with Devin Hester, as you alluded to. And again, they say they don't want to kick to you all day. They kick to you, and you nearly take it to the house, maybe one step away once again.
You know, whenever we get an opportunity on special team, we try to make the best of it. We know that just going in the game, we're going to have one, maybe two opportunities. So we got to make sure they pay for it once they kick it to us.
And then they definitely almost paid with you, and then they eventually paid as the offense put points on the board. And I know it had to be frustrating because you guys score and get back in it, but then this Detroit offense, they just find a way to keep it going, as they've been doing all year.
Yeah, they came out, you know, they got great receivers, and they came out and played a major factor in this game. You know, receivers continue to keep the drive going with a lot of first down, and that what really killed us, a lot of first down. But at the end of the day, as an offense, we just got to step up and make more plays, We're getting the opportunity with the defense, shedding them out 3 and out, and we just got to step up and make more plays.
Okay. Late in the game, they try to come to you over the middle, get sandwiched in. What kind of play with that, and are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. I just got a little wind out that, man. And, like I said, if I had the opportunity to do it again, I'd probably go do the same thing and just try to go up and make a catch on the ball.
Okay, and then going over the middle, that's part of the game. You don't mind doing it as long as you're making a play.
All right, most definitely.
No, what are you going to say?
Somebody got to do it.
No doubt. Hey, and you've been the man to do it all year. What do you guys have to do? You have a bye week now, a lot of soul searching and thinking because you come back. You have to come back with a vengeance, huh?
All right, this bye week is going to pay a lot on us, and we got 2 whole weeks to think about this loss, and, got to look forward to it and go in and just do a lot of film study and prepare for this week.
And again, whether it's offense, special teams, you want to contribute as you did again today.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
All right, Devin, appreciate it as always, my man. Okay, all right. All right, Pat, let's go back to you in the studio.
All right, William, thank you very much, and thanks to Devin Hester. I think we saw it last week in the game plan with Philadelphia, how you're going to attack Devin Hester, and that's basically to not let him beat you. And Stan Kwan, special teams coach of the Detroit Lions, devised a nice system today and was well executed.
No question.
Other than that one
yeah,
time.
you look at Jason Hanson, he's running all around, had the blockers in certain distances. There's no way they're going to kick this guy. One mistake, he almost made him pay again today. The one time Bears get great field position, that's what Devin Hester does. I mean, the guy is a fantastic.
The interesting thing is that if you look at the average field position, the Bears started on their 30 on the 34. Yeah. And Detroit started on the 24, and that shows you the difference in Devin Hester and the effect that he has on the whole, the punting, all special teams, really, when you start thinking about them giving away that field position. But I always say that's because they don't respect your offense.
And he only had the 1 reception there at the very end of the ball game, but we talked about it, great field position. Teams will be willing to do that until this offense can prove on a consistent basis that they can take advantage of that. And again, they didn't do that today. We're going to see this blueprint, I would imagine, the rest of the way.
Definitely. TGFH. Thank God for Hester. Thank God he's on our team right now. But he's the type of guy who's a home run hitter. If you kick off the ball, there's an opportunity that he's going to score or he's going to put the team into great field position. And with a guy like this, you have to take advantage as an offense with the field position that's given to you to take advantage and do something with that.
Well, because I look at this game and you break it down and say, well, what's the defense doing week to week? And really, I mean, you look at the numbers from even today's ball game, the defense is getting after some people. But, I always talk about you can't leave them on the field all the time. And then there are going to be some situations you can't put them in a tough spot by coming in and doing a 3 and out. Then all of a sudden they're right back on the field. Those are the kinds of things that will cause your defense to break down and tire in ball games. And I know the guys like to say they don't get tired, but we all know that you play the game long enough, you will get tired.
Yeah, and that's where you have, breakdowns in a game just due to the fatigue of certain players. And, that's what the Bears are going through right now. I thought the defense played pretty darn good today, considering the circumstances. And like you said, being out on that field all the time, that is tough to do against an explosive offense of the Detroit Lions. They held them to 16 points. That's actually a monumental effort what they did today.
One thing that disturbs me a little bit about, the Chicago Bears defense is Lovie has always preached turnovers, and it just seems like they're just missing a lot of opportunities. They had opportunities to come away with some several turnovers. The first ball thrown, Peanut missed it, and then Danielle Manny also missed it in a reception as well. But Peanut, he has a knack for creating turnovers and getting after the ball, and he created one this game.
And you saw that huge pass interference penalty at 47 yards that set up the Lions' first score. We've got to take a timeout right here. We're going to hear from Brian Griese coming up again. He showers and goes through treatment, then he addresses the media. When we return, we'll head inside that Bears locker room. 7 to the Detroit Lions, 3-5 on the year. Do you think Ron Turner has to change the game plan? That's what Joe from Dwight has to say. What do you think about Ron Turner's game plan?
I think it's all factors in. If you can't run the football, makes it struggle in the deep play action. That's always been his foundation, is play action pass. You look at years where Eric Kramer threw up big numbers here back in 1995, and I always relate back to that year because they have an identity, and it's something he wants to continue to do. They can't do it right now, so he's gone away from it. They're putting the ball up 40 times a game. They're trying to be more aggressive, and then they're having other breakdowns because it's just not who they are.
I remember as you'd sit in a film, and back then it was film when I was playing, you sit in the room and the coaches would look at each offensive play, break it all down, and it's all 11 guys. It takes all 11 guys doing their job. And then when you look at what's going on with the Bears offense this year, and particularly the run game, you know, it's not always just one person that's breaking down. We talked about Cedric earlier today. He's got his own issues to deal with. But there are other things going on. If you look at the offensive line, 4 guys can be doing their job. One guy slips up, one guy misses a block, and all of a sudden the play goes nowhere. And that's why it's so difficult when you're just sitting there watching the game and trying to say, well, gee, who was it? You know, you really want to go back and break it all down. What was the guy that missed the block? Who was the guy that didn't get to his assignment? And that's why it's tough for you viewing the game to figure it all out. But that's what's happening.
I like what Kamal from Morton Grove has to say here. What do you think of Jigga, Azuma, and Miller coming back to play for the Bears? I bet if it happened, I could smell Super Bowl champs. You guys may be getting a phone call.
No, I don't think so.
What about changes? Changes being made right now. Adam Archuleta, like we can go basically across the roster and find guys that aren't living up to either expectations or what is acceptable for a successful team in the National Football League. What do you think about changes?
I think changes can be good, changes can be bad, but right now they just have to figure out their identity. You know, there's a big identity crisis on this team, and they're not understanding exactly who they are and what they did. Like especially last year, getting into the Super Bowl, they were under some adversity last year, and they figured out ways to get the job done, create some certain things, and get to the Super Bowl.
How many areas would you really, contemplate?
Hey, Brian Griese is stepping to the mic right now at Soldier Field. Let's listen to the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears.
All right, guys.
It's a tough loss for us. Obviously, we all knew the importance of this game, and to stand up here and having lost at home in a divisional game it's tough. It's a tough loss, and for us, we have some time to think about it and look at the film and see what it is that we need to work on and address those things in the next 2 weeks and come back for the second part of this season.
Did it feel like the same old story or the same type of mistakes as usual for you guys tonight? Or is there something else to look at tonight?
Until I watch the film, I really can't say. But I think that from my perspective, the one thing that's really killed us is we haven't scored many points in the first half of games, first quarter of games. And offensively, we just haven't started very fast. And I think what's happened is in the second half of some of those games, we've been coming from behind. And because we haven't scored any points, and it doesn't give us a chance to use the balance that we need to get on offense. And, Cedric is really taken out of the game in the second half because we have to throw the ball, come from behind, and that's just not a recipe for success in this league.
Brian, the interceptions in the end zone, is that trying to make the big play? Or is that maybe forcing it a bit too much?
There's situations in games where you have one-on-one coverage and you try to take a shot to give your guy a chance to make the play. 2 of those interceptions were that instance. The last one, obviously, I'm trying to push the ball into the end zone to get a score. But that's just the nature of that situation. And you have to take chances sometimes to make plays and score points.
Was the first interception often audible?
Yeah, the first interception was an audible and a hand signal, and we had a little trouble communicating the hand signal out to Mark, and I think the safety had a pretty good idea the second time I signaled him what we were trying to do. And usually in that situation, the receiver beats the corner and the quarterback beats the safety. And at the snap of the ball, he ran to the sideline and made the play. So that was on me.
Mark was the receiver on the second interception in the end zone. So how many more reps would you like to have this year in practice? Feel totally comfortable?
I don't think that's a situation of reps. I think, it's we're just trying to make a play in that situation.
Talk about the first quarter struggles. Play scripted from the kickoff?
We have a list of plays that we'd like to get to. I can't put a finger on it now as to why. I mean, that's something that I'm going to look long and hard at in the next 2 weeks is how can we come out with an attitude we're going to come out and score points early in games. We just have to do that. I think we talk about balance in the running game and the passing game, and if we're not scoring points early in games, we can't keep that balance throughout the entire game because the other team's going to score points. And if we're not scoring points, we're going to be in a situation where we got to score a touchdown, 2 touchdowns in the second half to get back in the game. And if you have to do that, then you're throwing the ball. And what happens today is, you get a defensive line that's a pretty good defensive line, and they just pin their ears back and rush, and it makes it difficult on everybody to operate, the offensive line, the quarterbacks, everybody. So it's just not a good recipe.
Brian, Lovie talks about kind of the back-to-basics approach here for the next couple of weeks. How do you think that applies to the offense and what it's got to do to regroup?
Well, like I said, I think we look at the film, we look at the past 4 or 5 weeks and say, look, what is it that we need to work on to do better? How can we start faster, as I said? And if you want to take it back to basics, you look at each and every person has to look at themselves and say, what can I do better? And I'll do the same thing, and then come back with an attitude that the season is not lost, that we have 8 more games remaining, and have a shot to turn this around.
That being said, how does the team feel today after all the talk about getting back to 500, improving the chances for the playoffs? Now, kind of the mountain that's in front of you when you come back from the bye.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what the sentiment is right now, but I know how I feel. Obviously this was a very tough loss for us, and you lay down and you bleed for a while, and but then you get back up and you go back to work, and you work on the things that you need to work on, that you got to get better at, and you take what's promised you, which is the next game. And that's really all that's promised to us. And I think that, like I said, the season is not lost. But we do have a long road to hoe. But I'm willing to put in the hard work to get it started.
Brian, what happened to your knee? Did you get hit from the side? Was it helmet? There's a play where it looked like you were grabbing your knee after you got hit.
No, there's nothing wrong with my knee. No, I just got a lot of the wind knocked out of me. Okay, guys.
Sounds like the Bears have been listening to you on Bears Postgame Live, getting back to basics. I've heard that at least 4 times today. All right, here's the quarterback report card, C-, C-, D+. Guys, are we giving Brian Griese a pass today? If that had been Rex Grossman out there, who had thrown 4 interceptions, 3 in the end zone, he would have been strung up. He'd be on the back page of the Sun-Times tomorrow. Somehow Rex would be in the headline as, Rex text, whatever they call it, and there would be a ripping session for Grossman. Are we giving Brian Griese his fair due right now?
I think everybody's been pretty complimentary to Brian Griese. And again, I said it 2 weeks ago on the show. His numbers have been very Rex-like. Fine, we get a big win at Philadelphia. Awesome 2-minute drive. Brian Griese played phenomenal last weekend. But you look at the numbers, they are similar to Rex's. 38 quarterback rating, is that what you just sold out today? That is very Rex-like, and I think he has been given a pass.
Well, it's almost like, and again, I wasn't too much of a pass today. Just saying. But I think what happens is you look back and see some of the positive things that were going on. And add this.
What were they?
No, I mean before this game.
Oh, okay.
But then you look at what happened today, and again, there's breakdowns everywhere, folks. When your quarterback can't step up and throw the football, he mentioned one of the things, you put yourself in a tough spot where you have to throw the ball. But they really weren't into that situation until the last drive
That's
or so.
the point, though. There's breakdowns across the board. Those breakdowns were happening with Rex Grossman.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so that guy got vilified, torn down, and that's the reason you went to the Super Bowl. Think about his postseason play other than the Super Bowl. That guy made some plays at the quarterback
So
position.
what we're basically saying is they're the same guy, in essence. They are an average to maybe below
Good
average
Brian,
quarterback.
bad Brian now, we're into that?
Can lead you on a 97-yard scoring drive, can throw 4 picks in a game like that. So that said, what do you take out of it? Common denominator is these 2 quarterbacks. Is it the running game? Is it a total problem across the board?
That was the question we were going to get to before we went to Brian, and which areas would you change on the football team? If you're sitting down now at the break and saying, okay, I'm looking at a couple of different things, and maybe you're sitting at home, you have your notepad, you say, well, I want to change these things about the team, what would they be?
You open it up like Eric Mangini for the New York Jets.
That's right.
All positions are on the line.
That's right.
I'm telling you, when you know your job is on the line, you will play harder. Trust me. I think it's happened. It should happen at the wide receiver position, should happen on the offensive line, should happen at the running back position. It should be opened up at the quarterback position. You need guys to come and play. There's no question about it. When guys know their job's on the line, trust me, you play hard.
Can you still do that though? I mean, in this day and age where we look at contracts and things that promised and all the rest is, can you do that anymore?
I think you can.
It's harder with
really
the big ticket items. I mean, let's face it. I think if Cedric Benson wasn't drafted 4th overall, he wouldn't be getting more snaps right now than Adrian Peterson. He doesn't deserve it. But because you put your butt on the line and take him where you did, you're going to give him every opportunity to prove that you made the right selection there, and justify giving him multi-million-dollar contract before he does anything.
Well, we gave Rex Grossman that opportunity, and his butt's on the bench.
Right.
So
no, I agree.
I agree.
Well, because the line goes out for a while, then all of a sudden it's like you hook the big shark, and then you start reeling it back in, and that's when these guys maybe find a seat.
One guy who's been criticized in recent weeks has been Brian Urlacher. We told you earlier in the show, they talked to Jay Glazer of Fox Sports, told him that he has a back problem. He went and had it checked out in Pittsburgh this year. He said it is more painful than the hamstring injury that he had a couple years back. So we're going to hear from a hostile Brian Urlacher who addressed the media, short as it may have been and terse as it may have been. You will hear it coming up on Bears Post Game Live. As we go to break, here's our Cadillac opinion poll. What are your... We told you about Brian Urlacher telling Glazer from Fox Sports that he has a back injury, that he's had it all season long. It's been very painful for him. It's something he's just going to try to gut through. He also said earlier this week, not very much to the local media here in Chicago, almost having a little bit of fun at the expense of the Chicago media. He addressed the group at Soldier Field just a short time ago. Let's listen in from the leader of the Bears defense, Brian Urlacher.
And how difficult is it to head into the bye week this way?
Not fun. So is that report on Fox Sports about your back, is that accurate? Probably.
Well, Brian, if you answer questions then that he puts it on the internet, that goes to the whole world. Everybody knows what goes on that internet site. So, do we have to wait to see that, or can you tell us?
Not sure. But for the fans to have something to go by, I don't want to leave them out of this so they can ask me questions anytime they want on the website.
How did you decide on this, Brian? What's your...
Don't know.
Brian, could you repeat what you want fans to do? What did you say?
I just said it a minute ago.
Yeah,
go to foxsports.com. They can ask questions to me then.
Are you endorsing them?
Not sure.
Brian, why is that? I mean, why not just
No reason.
speak openly now about it?
No reason.
Is once a week?
Not sure.
So you're going to play unless you have a bulging disc in your back? You're going to keep playing until something bad like that happens?
Probably.
Lovie says he didn't know about you going to Pittsburgh. Was he aware of that?
Not sure.
Brian, how long is this going to go on, or are you only going to talk about it on the internet site?
Not sure.
Are you worried about this long term? This back long term for your career? The effects it could have on you?
If you go to, the fans can go to foxsports.com, they can look at it on there if they want to know.
What about the people who don't have a computer?
Not sure.
When can they go there? When in the week?
Not sure.
Is this how you're going to communicate with everybody then through the Fox Sports net?
Not the fans. No, they can go through there. Yeah, they can do whatever they want to on there.
But can you draw a line between the people who give the information to the fans and the fans?
I'm sorry?
Can you draw a line between the media and the fans?
Not sure.
Not sure what that accomplished or what the whole message was there, but you know this guy very well. Obviously, he's ticked off, first and foremost, with the way this team is playing right now. But about his idea now to take all of his comments and funnel them towards Fox Sports and Jake Glazier and to have him put it out on foxsports.com. Your thoughts on that? I mean, you've been at both sides now. You've been a player.
Right.
Now you're on the media.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Obviously, I think that he's a little frustrated right now. I think he probably would have said a little bit more if they would have won. But they didn't win, and he knows that, the team isn't playing up to their expectations. They're not playing good, and he's a type of person that takes it very personal and very hard because he's very critical about himself as well. We're not talking. I really can't say too much about that.
You were known as a guy that during your time in the league, you would have some moments where you didn't exactly love those microphones being shoved in front of your face.
It's not fun to step in front of that camera and talk about all your failures as a football team and your failures personally of being a guy that, let the team down. That's not easy to do. It's not easy. Those guys work hard now. This is their job. This is their livelihood. They take it very seriously. And I think you can tell the frustrations where, he's trying to make it us, me against the world mentality. And you just sometimes can't control the uncontrollable. And it just clearly the frustrations are coming out.
I tell you, it was kind of, cute and everything before, but I think Brian's buying himself a problem he doesn't need. Because one of the things that this league has always prided itself in is that accessibility and the guys talking with, the writers and the television folks and the radio folks and getting the word out on the game. Because if you want to say, well, go to this website, then in essence what you're trying to do is control the medium, and they're not going to let you do that. So what's probably going to happen is at some point or another, he's going to get word from the commissioner, probably get fined for it, and sooner or later he'll start opening up again to the local guys. I don't know what the problem is. I don't know where it started or who it's with, but apparently there is an issue, a big issue there between he and the local guys. And I really, frankly, don't understand it because I think for the most part, it's Brian Urlacher central around here with the media. Everybody really likes the guy. I don't know what's happened to kind of set this situation up.
I think this is something that has kind of built over time, and we've seen people take shots at him saying he's the most overrated player. He tends to take a lot of the blame when this team doesn't do well, certainly shutting down running games because he is the star, the focal point on that defense. He's the frontline guy. He's the guy gets that. Sometimes that's deserved, and sometimes
you look at the other Hall of Famers that we've had, even at that position here in the city, and they didn't really kind of address it that way. Everybody cares about the game. He's not the only one. So I think that at some point or another you have to take a step back, catch your breath, and deal with this thing like a pro. Because you know what? It's part of what you do. It's part of the reason why they have you there and in the situation that you're in. So just deal with it. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody's going to go home crying over this whole thing. But I think you need to deal with these guys and help them do their jobs as well.
Let's go live to Soldier Field. Cedric Benson, 13 carries, 50 yards, 3.8 yards per carry. He's standing by with our William Jackson. Take it away.
All right, Pat, appreciate it. As you said, here with Cedric. And Cedric, you guys said coming into this week after a dramatic win last week, this is the one to get you back to 500. You go to the break in good shape. In terms of getting it together second half, come out, just didn't happen. Huh?
Yeah, we struggled the second half. We weren't quite as where we wanted to be in the first half. Mm-hmm. So we knew halftime adjustments would be very important. Mm-hmm. And we came out. We just couldn't quite get it going. We had some good drives, getting the red zone, and we couldn't finish. So that's something we gotta go back, film work, and look at ourselves, each person individually, and see what they could do better to put their ball in the scoring zone and touchdown.
No doubt. Now, did you think after coming off last week, were you excited to get out there this week and say, now we've turned the corner maybe and now we can start rolling?
No question, man. No question, especially after last week's win, being away and fighting the way we did at the last seconds of the game. We were for sure very confident coming in this week and, was confident about getting this streak going and getting this thing going, especially before the bye week and before the second half of the season. Fortunately, that didn't happen, but there's going to be some things we can learn from this.
Okay. Average 3.8 yards per carry today. Frustration setting in, or is it starting to turn the corner, and do you feel like things are opening up more for you in this offensive line?
Yeah. I feel like it's starting to turn the corner. I feel like things are opening up. It's no question a challenge. Being behind and situations of the game prevent us from really getting the run game going like we wanted to. But, you know, from where it was at the very beginning of the season to where, you know, lanes are opening up now and we're all communicating with each other and the type of plays we're running, I think it's coming all together.
Okay. Do you think you're getting enough reps to satisfy you the way you've been used right now?
No, but you know, situations of the game, you know, prevents me from, you know, getting in those situations where we can run the football. So.
Okay. And when you talk about too, whenever you're playing from behind, it makes it a little more difficult to run the rock as much as you want, to bleed the clock, or to have more control of your destination when you're trying to fight back.
Yeah, no question. And but as an offense, we can also help that by, you know, taking our first couple of possessions down for a touchdown. That way we don't have to worry about being behind. So, you know, we just got to look at ourselves, each player individually. I'm sure we all know I will, and see what, you know, what I can do better next week to try to put those points on the board.
And now you go to the bye week, and unfortunately with a loss, that's one to stew on for 2 weeks, not like you want.
No, not at all. But, you know, it's midway through the season. It's been tough for us, up and down. We at the hump, got to get over it. Got to, you know, got to take over the mountain. And, you know, we'll take this bye week as a chance to kind of relax and forget about it for a second, but in hopes that everybody comes back the following week ready to go.
All right, Cedric, appreciate it as always, man. Good luck second half of the season.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's go back to you guys in the studio.
All right, William and Cedric Benson, thank you for joining us here on Bears Post Game Live. Just 3 carries. That's all he had in the second half. 3 carries. Certainly not much to show your stuff, but is it time for Adrian Peterson to get more reps, in your opinion, Jim?
I think we're already seeing it. I think it happened in this ball game. When you look at the receptions.
2 carries in this.
Yeah, but look at the receptions. 6 receptions for Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
And, you know, it goes back to Brian Griese's earlier comments. I don't think the game was that far out of reach to change, to go away from it.
Yeah, that's the, you know, everyone like acts like they were down 21 points.
They weren't. I mean, they were down a score in this ball game.
Well, you know,
so they didn't have to change everything.
It's mentally, though. I think it mentally plays on their minds. They have not scored early in football games this season. And you get to the second half now, they always feel like it's a 20-point advantage for the other team because, in essence, they find it so hard to, and have been struggling to score touchdowns like they want to. And that's problematic because at no point, except for the last drive, as we said earlier, were they in a situation where they had to go down gunning.
Now, folks that watch this show on a regular basis, you know the Kool-Aid tends to flow on that side of the table, but it's been kind of like a funeral up here this year. But guess what? All is not lost. Wait till you see what Tommy Harris guarantees when we return on the show.
Kool-Aid.
As we go to break, our Giordano scoreboard, a look around week 8 of the 16-7 today. Of course, the Packers play tomorrow night in Denver, but the Lions looking good right now at 5-2, 3-0 in the division. But hey, Tommy Harris apparently has a little journey going in that iPod. He says, fans, don't stop believing.
That's fine, man. They will continue to keep pushing and believing in our team. I asked the fans of Chicago to keep believing, and we will make it to the playoffs. You hear me say that? We will make it to the playoffs. Keep believing, keep having faith in us. We're working things out, and it'll be a year to remember.
Guarantee, playoff guarantee from Tommy Harris.
Guarantee. We will. I believe. That's how much I believe my teammates. We have some little nicks. We have things right now, but we will make it to the playoff. That's my mind frame, and I keep believing in things, and it will happen. So that's all I have right now is my belief. So sometimes it's better to believe than it is to understand. So that's what I'm doing. St. Augustine says
Most times it is.
Right. So I'm just believing, and the understanding will come later. But I keep believing, tell everybody in my locker room to keep believing, and we'll be all right. That's all everybody got to believe. Trust in one another, trust in the system, and let's go.
Nostra Tommy with some pretty interesting comments saying that the Bears will make the playoffs even though they're 3-5 at the break. I read the stat earlier. Since 2000, only 1 out of 43 teams that have started 3-5 has gone on to make the playoffs.
But one team did.
One team did. Tommy says it's going to be 2.
Number 2.
What do you think?
I believe.
I believe.
I believe.
Do you understand?
They got some tough sledding. They know that. Is it possible? I do. I think the Bears are a talented football team. If they play mistake-free football Absolutely, they have an opportunity, but it needs to be
That's
perfect.
the thing that's so frustrating about this. I mean, we sit here week after week after week, and you know this football team can win these games, and you see that, and they've been finding ways to lose these games, and in years past, they found a way to win them. And that's the frustrating thing about sitting down and watching them this year. It's not that you don't think that they're a good football team, it's just that they haven't been proving it. And that's, as we all know, the NFL, you better prove it every week, or you're going to be going home early, and the other people are going to be staying for the postseason.
All right, we're going to step aside another time here. When we return, coming up, we're going to have the game's MVP. We'll have Jerry's GQ and also the response to our Cadillac poll question. Keep it. Not a lot of great drives in this game to talk about for this offense.
No, not, and couldn't take advantage of some momentum changers in this game. You know, obviously, you know, they got the big return and scored the touchdown, but when they did have an opportunity to keep their defense off the field, offense just couldn't move the football at all.
Devin Hester's big 39-yard punt return setting up that scoring drive right there. Still time to log on to ComcastSportsNet.com and vote away on our Cadillac opinion poll. What are your feelings of the Bears' first half of the season? There are your choices, A through E. We'll have results coming up on the time now for our Monsters of the Midway presented by IPA, otherwise known as the Bears MVP, and we start with Jerry Azuma.
I'm going with Hester. You know, Hester is just a guy, whenever the ball touches his hand, he's pretty much spectacular, and they opted to kick away from him. Hester all day long.
Collectively, I thought the defense played pretty well, but I'm not giving it to anybody this week. I think a group as a whole, they all earned that loss all in the same
shutout from Miller. What do you have for us?
Well, you know, I thought one guy, again, who, set it up by field position, set it up returning punts. Devin Hester's my guy this week.
Pretty tough to find a silver lining in this game. I thought Peanut Tillman played a pretty good game. 6 tackles, a forced fumble there. But again, not easy to find. Our Monsters of the Midway presented by IPA. So here now is our standings after 8 weeks. And Devin Hester, leader in the clubhouse, as you might expect, with 11. Not easy to find, you know, the Monster of the Midway. Not easy for the stylish one, Jerry Azuma, to give us his best dressed player. What do you have for us in Jerry's GQ?
First of all, the winner usually gets a nice Cadillac bag right here.
Usually?
Yeah, but there's no keys in it. But yeah, we saved Cadillac a bag. Absolutely no winners tonight.
First time ever there has not been. None. And that it actually goes nice with your chocolate brown suit.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it does go.
Accessorized.
Somehow, I think
it's a big man purse.
It'll end up in his at his place.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I like the one with keys in it though.
Yeah, doesn't look like we'll be using it for Arizona for the Super Bowl. Unfortunately.
Don't stop believing.
Don't stop. Hey, here's our standings now for Jerry's GQ after the 8 weeks. Still anybody's ball game with 8 to go. We're coming back with the results to our Cadillac opinion poll on the other side. Our Cadillac opinion poll results. The question was, what are your feelings on the Bears' first half of the season, this 3-5 mark? Here's what you had to say. 80% say total disappointment, not looking forward to the second half. Can't really argue with that, Jerry.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Oh, come on.
You gave me a Brian Urlacher answer.
Come on.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
There's a second half of football to be played.
All right, so you're buying what Tommy Harris is selling, huh?
Hey, you know what?
Load him up with some
As long as
Kool-Aid,
they're kicking
baby.
a football somewhere in this country, I want to watch, okay? That's
Approach it as a whole new season. Forget about it. Let's move on.
You'll run off 8 straight. Where are you?
I agree. It can happen.
Drink the Kool-Aid, baby.
All right, so here's the thing. You got 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
You obviously they're going to stay at quarterback with Brian Greasy, right?
You got to believe that they will.
Do you think they'll do anything with Cedric Benson? Do you think
I think Adrian Peterson will get worked in there periodically a little bit more. We saw what he did in the reception game. I think he is more of a threat. Holds on the ball. I think he has the ability to be a playmaker. Get that guy in there more.
On the defensive side, we expect to get Nate Vasher back against Oakland. That will certainly help things up. But what are they going to do with the safety situation? Do you expect to see Adam Archuleta get benched?
You know what? You would under normal circumstances, but right now they're looking at the situation going, the other guys we have coming off, number one, those guys are hurt. The guys that we were planning on maybe dipping in and out of there. So I don't think much is going to change with Adam Archuleta, at the safety spot. I think they're pretty much stuck with what they've got.
Well, this is obviously a monumental loss. It would have been so nice to see them go into the bye at 4-4, now at 3-5, as we mentioned, since 2000. One team out of 44 43 has made it to the postseason after starting 3-5. But Tommy says we can still do it.
Believe.
You're going to believe. You're going to get Journey going in your iPod. You're going to start believing.
I
Is
believe.
that what you're telling me?
I believe.
All right.
I believe.
Well, you know, he
Thank
says
you, Brian Urlacher.
it's better to believe than to understand. You know, so.
I guess. Well, that's going to do it for us as the Bears, again, fall to 3-5 on the year after the 16-7 loss. That's going to do it for U.S. Cellular Bears post-game live. We won't see you next week because of the bye. We'll see you the following week. So long, everybody.